Loading in. It's so loud.
Oh man, hey, we're bringing something from your era.
Exactly.
We're just
and if you
definitely-
haven't, I didn't see him at that age. I've seen him several times after he was a little gray and no hair. But man,
But it didn't slow him down, and he did it.
no.
Angus is going to live forever.
I hope so.
I think they're about to drop a new album, maybe a new tour or something like
Well,
that. If you
Rolling
don't-
Stones did, and I saw them 18 years ago while they were still alive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
That
you,
was my thought.
you know what
I
they
said
say?
they were-
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I guess so.
That's all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Keeps you going.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson just turned like 91 or something too. I
Nah,
think
he's like 160, I think.
yeah, in real life, yeah.
Woke up not dead again today.
Hey, well, welcome back to Whiskey Bros
Yeah.
Roundtable. Happy New Year.
Been a little bit.
2024. I wonder how many people out there really just already like messed up their checks.
Oh, I already have.
Does anybody
23.
write checks anymore?
No.
You do?
Once in a while.
Okay, yeah. Once a year? Yeah.
I run them locally because that's the extra 1.5 to 3% to the vendor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
Yeah.
that's valid.
That's true. They're
Yeah,
not having to
I've
pay
not
those,
even thought about
those
that.
credit card fees. Well, continuing our getting to know your locally elected leaders or elected officials, joining us today is the one, the only, jack of all trades, master of quite a few trades as well, the Commissioner of Precinct 2, Kevin By God Burns.
Yeah.
Welcome, and thanks for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you. Thanks for the
And
invite.
also, if you can see him back here in the background.
Oh yeah.
We got a little guy hovering back here. He's Miguel Loza here.
He's my nearest neighbor.
Yeah. Right under Akbar over there.
He's been on the show too.
Yes.
I mean, we make fun of a lot of Californians, but
He's like the best, best of the best that comes from California.
I know, like he doesn't do our stories justice.
No, he doesn't. No. So
Yeah.
we need like a standard list of Miguelisms. And like, if you're moving from California and you don't adhere to these standards, just stay back in California, right? We love you, Miguel.
Yep.
Thanks for coming and hanging out with
Oh
us.
man,
And we
and he
have a
brought
lot
some
of
like
good ones.
empanadas and
No, I did that.
Kevin
you
brought
did
the
that.
empanadas.
Okay.
Yeah. From
Okay.
the best place you can get them out of a back of an SUV in a
Oh
parking
man,
lot.
you know they're
That's
good. I mean, it says cayeta. I don't know what cayeta means.
Cayeta means shut up.
Miguel?
Cookie.
Okay,
It's caramel.
that works.
What is
So-
cayete? Isn't that?
Cayete means shut up.
Okay, so there's cayeta and cayete.
Cayete way.
Cayete.
Galleta
Okay.
or cayete is
Okay.
And then the other one is pino.
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Okay.
Yep.
Ooh, and there's a really fantastic Mexican seafood place in North Richland Hills, off 820, right by the Hooters. I mean, everybody might know where that Hooters is, but I know what octopus is in Spanish. Now it's pulpo.
Pulpo.
Yeah, it's really good. This is cayete.
I want the
Yeah.
pineapple. Well, I guess I'll try
Pineapple?
both.
We're gonna try both.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Miguel,
Here are guests who offered these.
Pass
We're
the
not
sack.
offering none to him.
Bernsey?
Yeah.
I'll take the leftovers.
Okay.
If there are any. Thanks. Great.
this is a good way to start off the year.
I mean, I tell you.
Not bad.
And we gotta give a big thanks to Uncle John
That's good.
for the whiskey. The
What whiskey? What whiskey?
the representative. Can you pull that around? There,
Yeah.
Doc?
There
Is
you
that
go.
on camera?
Back it
Yeah,
up a little
focus,
bit.
focus.
Back it up a little bit, Doc.
There it
There she
is.
is.
Okay. Kind of fits with our segment.
Yeah, it really does. I think that was his intentions.
Wow.
So y'all tell me about the pairing, if that's
Okay, this might be something made in
Yeah,
heaven.
Chance,
but the
tell us.
representative is a bourbon aged no less than 2 congressional terms, so
Okay.
a minimum of 4 years, and it's barrel proof too. I've not had a sip of it yet.
Man, those things are good.
The pineapple is, I can tell
I
you.
hope everybody can hear us chewing on them and eating them. That's great.
Oh, wow. That is
That's a really
quite
good
nice.
pairing, actually. This is cajeta.
Cajeta.
So we were saying it wrong.
Okay.
Cajeta.
And what is this one? Oh,
Come on.
my.
Did you
That's
look
a
it up?
Fantastic pairing.
Mm.
Wow.
Okay, good.
There's
It worked
more of
out
those,
well.
right?
Yeah, there are a few.
I also have a story about getting food on the side of a road with Kevin and Martha. So we'll get into that later
Okay,
on too.
that was fun.
that was,
That was fun. And I may have a picture if we could.
you do.
Yes.
Is it on your Facebook?
It is, and I may have it on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll post it for sure.
Needless
Okay.
to say, we were taking a bag of white stuff from a Mexican guy in Marfa on the
Oh,
street.
wow.
Oh,
I was like, if people didn't know what this was,
it was-
they would be suspect of what we've got going on.
But
But we'll talk about
but
it.
lo and behold, it was just
We can't give that away right now.
Oh.
We got to keep people on the edge of their seat.
okay.
Gotta be a little mysterious. This is my new thing for New Year's. Don't give all the secrets away yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Make people wonder.
Hold your
Suspense.
cards close to your chest.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's talk a little bit about you, Kevin. Tell us your story and your humble beginnings. And
Humble
Wise-
beginnings.
Are you
basically
I'm a
start at
native
birth.
Wise Countyan?
I'm a Wise County, and
Okay.
I was born in the Decatur Community Hospital, which is right where the Veterans Memorial Park is now.
Sure. Oh, so the
So that was
the old hospital.
old hospital.
The one after that is now like the Woman's Rehabilitation Center or
I
something.
believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Or it's where the probation office is.
That's it. Yeah. So
Isn't wasn't that a hospital once?
I'm not
Just
familiar.
just to
brick
the
building?
directly west of the city hall building.
Not that I'm aware of.
That
Maybe
wasn't a
that wasn't-
hospital.
I
at
thought
some
it
No,
point?
was.
oh
too.
no, it was the probation and burying was a hospital. It was a competitor at
Yeah,
the time.
that's right.
okay.
Yeah.
So same era, but
Same
different.
era.
I think that's
Yeah.
where my dad was born. Actually,
Birthed
at
in
that
a different
one.
place.
Two hospitals in Decatur
There were
at that
There-
time.
Yeah,
Wow.
Do you know the doctor that delivered you?
yeah, Dr. Valsic.
It was Valsic.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was my mother worked for him.
Yeah.
It was
That's
a
the neatest.
interesting relationship.
Yeah, that's the neatest thing about a small town, though. Is like
Yeah.
you can walk around at any moment. Like Dr. Tibbles birthed me.
Oh yeah.
At any moment, you could stumble across your doctor, and you
Exactly.
know if you're being an
He knows
asshole, he
you.
could be like, "You need to calm down, little Jimmy. I'd be
Yeah,
able to
I
help
don't,
birth you."
I don't know if that's 100% a good thing because also
Yeah.
same doctors could be like, I've seen your mom's breasts.
and other places, and other places.
Oh,
Oh man.
Yeah, especially Doc, you know?
Yeah.
so you could never get Dr. Valsic to do this. He's so
Too humble?
tight-lipped.
Oh,
No
yeah.
man, a few words.
Yeah.
Really?
If you went in for an examination, he may just grunt at you and then write you a script and hand it
And just-
to you, and without words,
Oh, wow.
literally.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
a doctor here that my grandparents talked about that smoked Camel unfiltered.
He smoked cigars.
Okay, there was another doctor here that was classic. That
And I
had a
don't know which
reputation of
one that
saying,
was.
"I don't smoke cigarettes with filters because it's the filters that give you the cancer." This was I don't remember the doctor's name.
I don't know that.
So there are a lot of stories about Dr. Valsic. I didn't know the man, but apparently he worked on the day he died.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt
He
it at
worked
all.
the
He,
way up till boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
ideal.
he was an outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm.
Did like tractors, and for a while I worked for a tractor dealership. So we had that to talk about, fishing to talk about. And I left the office one day. I was a puny little kid. So I was in there all the time. My mom, was kind of a hypochondriac. So I'm in there all the time. Left one day, and my mother and the other nurses in the office said, "We've been talking about this while you were in there. He has spoke more words to you in the last 20 minutes than he spoke to us in the last 20 years.
What?
You're like the chosen one. So you found like a relation or relating to him on farm equipment and the outdoors.
Yeah.
That was back when you didn't have to actually talk to your patients, right?
Yeah.
You just walked in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what's wrong with you.
He would say, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you walk in and sit down next to a cigar on the ashtray. Great guy. I wouldn't trade for the experience. As a matter of fact, I'm getting off, but I drink whiskey under doctor's orders.
Okay.
So he told me to drink.
so
We
do
also
we.
have that
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
doctor.
so do
Okay.
we.
Yeah.
So I had an ulcer at 20 years old, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I was made a manager of an equipment dealership at about 20 years old. So I had an ulcer because there were
Well earned.
17 people there working there with me. It's the youngest guy in the building.
Yeah.
They hated me.
But they put you in charge of them?
Well, the boss did, the owner.
Okay.
So it wasn't the most pleasant situation. So I had an ulcer. I didn't know what it was. I just had stomach pain.
It just
extreme
hurt.
Yeah, just hurt. So went in to see Dr. Valsic. And same thing. What's wrong with you? Got stomach pains. Where is it? Right here. Poke me. Right here? Yeah, right here. When does it hurt? Mainly when I'm eating,
Yeah.
but then all the time, but it hurts a lot. It's an esophageal ulcer. It's, while you're swallowing,
Yeah.
right at the top of your stomach. And so, well, what do we do about it? He said, well, the first thing, you get rid of that wristwatch. Worrying about what time it is.
Stop stressing.
So, well, I've got to get to work. He said, you know what I do. He'd been in the business.
Mm-hmm.
No. So anyway, he said, and then he said, what's your eating habits? And I told him, he said, specifically, what do you eat? So I told him, all the normal stuff, fast food, steak and potatoes, all the country stuff that you eat. And he said, what do you drink? I said, yeah, some. He said, specifically, what do you drink? Well, I go to college night I got you in Fort Worth. They have all the light beer from Muller you can drink for $4.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Oh, don't drink light beer." He said, "That's bad for you, bad for your stomach. If you're gonna drink it, drink the real stuff."
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't drink much of it anyway. He said, "Well, what you drink?" So, well, a little whiskey and Coke. He said, "Well, leave off the Coke. Whiskey won't hurt you."
Man after our own hearts.
Yeah, that's
So
a good
I thought
doctor.
that was priceless. So I still say I
That's
drink whiskey
great.
under doctor's
But
orders.
it's like, we're kind of, this day and age is like, we're finding out that, Coke's probably much worse for you than booze. So he was onto
Yeah.
something.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was a doctor
Yeah.
ahead of his time.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like there were a species of doctors who have since passed, and they're these country generalists,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's like wise old men who practiced for decades.
Definitely. So, I got to kind of out of chronology, but
Yeah, we do that.
We
I
do
grew
that.
up- Yeah.
We condone
I'm a
that
scatter.
behavior on this
Okay,
show.
good. Good.
If you've noticed a change in your bathroom habits and your number 2 isn't what it used to be, then let us invite you to try Autron Till. It's developed by Dr. Ken Brown, a board-certified gastroenterologist to help people that suffer from IBS, bloating, and diarrhea. It's made from all-natural, non-GMO polyphenols that will put your gut microbiome back in check. Trust us, we all use it, we all benefit from it, and yes, you will notice a difference. Try the 630 trial. That's 6 pills a day for 30 days, and if it's not working for you, you can get your money back. Click on the show notes for the details or go to autrontil.com and use keyword Whiskey Bros at checkout.
So I grew up a mile north of here,
Yep.
mile and a half, where our land, ancestral land, is almost contiguous
yeah.
with Chance's. So right down the road or right through the pasture, it's
Yeah.
3 or 4 miles by road. So I crossed paths with his dad a lot, cattle mixing back and forth, good, solid farm background.
Mhm.
you become a mechanic by trade by default.
Yeah,
Because you
it's a
just
necessity.
have to maintain things and keep things going. So
Yeah, and field service guys from they weren't as prevalent back then as they are these days.
There were some good ones.
Yeah.
That came out when it was absolutely necessary. You've done everything you can do. Then you call
Then it's time to call.
yeah, and you call Wilbur Bergstrom from the John Deere house. He could work on anything.
Oh, I've never heard that name.
Oh, your granddad did.
Okay.
I'm sure you
They
knew
knew
him
of
on a
him.
first name basis. Yeah. So great guy. So so I got a real, I think, as good an upbringing as you can for my particular job now because it requires a lot of oddball things. Something gets thrown at you every day.
Yeah, and just being able to be relatable with your constituents. But everybody that knows Kevin, it's like you can relate to anybody on any kind of level with anything.
I mean, even
been-
Californians.
Even the California.
Yeah.
Hey, in all seriousness, we got a lot of really good Californians
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they moved away for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, they moved away from a blue state. One of Miguel's friends, he has a bumper sticker on his truck because he's been here, 5 or 6 years, Cisco. He's got a bumper sticker that says "Don't California my Texas,"
And he moved here and got that bumper sticker.
and he preaches it.
Oh man.
So what I hear is you're a pilgrim, not a missionary.
Touche.
Yeah, I mean that's valuable right there.
It is. But that's the way most of them look at themselves. They're running from what they didn't like, and it's refreshing. It really is.
We've got good ones. Most of the tech industry in Austin and I've heard rumors that the tech industry that moved from California, those types that are like, we kind of want to go back to California. I don't know if they're meeting hostility here or which would be surprising that it's in Austin.
Could
Maybe-
be weather. Could be
yeah.
weather.
Texas
Yeah.
just
Oh,
really sucks in the summer.
Yeah, it's a brutal.
It's like
MF here.
In fact, it sucks all year long. Like nobody should ever want to move here.
And the mountains are an hour one direction, and the beach is another.
There
Yeah.
are 2 days here. There's
With good
one in
weather.
the spring and one in the fall where it starts out about 60 and goes to
Yeah.
about 72.
And you're like,
And you
it's
need to be there
really
that,
nice
those
day.
2
Yeah.
days.
Those two
Yeah.
days, that makes up for the rest of it. The rest, the 363, forget about it.
Yeah, I don't think we call it spring and fall. It's like early summer and late summer. That's it.
yeah.
With a hint of winter. I think we are getting some winter weather coming this
Supposed
week.
to.
Yeah,
We'll
next
see
week. It's supposed to be down around
teens.
20.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not here yet, so I'm not believing it.
So you rancher types are going to get days off.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right.
Just the other day, I fed a bale of hay. I cut the wrap on it, and there were grasshoppers still alive.
Oh, no.
This was 3 days ago.
Oh, no.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I mean,
Well, it's not been freezing too
That's-
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the coldest we've been is 30 degrees. And
No,
Right.
it's been when you get up, Chan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
it's
It's usually warmer at 11 a.m., huh?
it's been 24 in the mornings, quite a few mornings.
that's for you people that dwell in the hills and hollers of
Yeah,
Wise
that's-
County.
yeah,
Those
that's it.
low-lying areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you moved to town. That's what
That's
it is.
right. Yeah, I'm
what
up
it
on
is,
that
yeah.
hill.
Yeah, it's hotter in town.
yeah. But apparently, climate change is bringing us Arctic blast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Arctic
Is that what it is?
I guess. I don't
Sure
know.
it is.
Arctic blast.
Sure
I
is.
just laugh at the sensational headlines they come out with now. Like,
Oh yeah.
Right.
it's just fun. It's a fun ride.
All
Okay,
the
well,
money.
back
See,
on track.
I just called it CAF.
What does that stand for?
Cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
So
CAF
anyway.
experience last year in Chicago. We were colder this Christmas than they were in Chicago this Christmas. Last Christmas in Chicago was a different story. It was like minus 14 with a wind chill of
good.
minus
Good
60.
Lord.
That's no
That's
fun.
cold. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
genuine CAF. That is
That is
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Just
like
cancel
you're-
me on that one.
Erie weather 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to go through that again here.
I was
No.
up. We were with the Mowers, hanging out with them, and Chris's two youngest boys went out to shovel the snow off the driveway. I'm like, I'll go help out, but all I had was a t-shirt on and just a normal, kind of a pullover coat, no gloves. And I went outside for 5 minutes and minus 40 wind chill.
Yeah.
and it was 5 minutes. I'm like, I've got a headache. My fingers, I hurt. Like I'm
like-
ready to just.
Numb,
Go to
cold
sleep.
numb in your fingers
It's
and your ears.
crazy different kind of cold.
I just don't do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll stay inside.
Well, luckily we have a cab.
Yeah.
Yeah, true
To
story.
feed the cows
CA.
We
with.
have the CAB.
That's really nice. Worth every penny.
But you moved up into some point. You got into the auto mechanics teacher. In
I
high school.
did. I went to school at North Texas and went there a couple of years. And my intent was to go to A&M and get an ag eco degree, maybe come back and teach ag or at least, farm for a living. And I went by the old auto mechanics shop to see my teacher. We did that periodically. Students would go by because it's in a separate building. You didn't have to go by the office or anything. You go in, just drive up, say hey.
You need a refresher.
Which I'm good. So anyway, I went by there one day and Mr. Holland says, do you remember how to use the equipment around here? And being the smart aleck that I am, I remember everything you told me, Mr. Holland.
That's right.
And he said, well, I thought so. You interested in doing this job? Because I'm retiring this year. And I said, no, I hadn't even thought about that. I told him my plans.
Yeah.
He said, well, why don't you come around tomorrow and we'll talk about it? And well, kind of bit. He said, just come by and we'll visit a little more. And so I went by. There was a application on his desk.
This guy wasn't messing around.
No, and he said, "Come with me. We need to go talk to Bud Ennis, the principal." And of course, we walked up the hill, and 2 minutes after I got there, they're offering me a pretty decent job. And hey, by the way, you don't have to come in the main building if you want to. You're pretty much your own boss. You don't have to go to, you don't have any extracurricular other than what your students do for UIL competition. And, it's a decent salary and you get 3 months off.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and holidays.
So that's a little hard to turn down, but,
So how long were you auto mechanics teacher?
11 years. So
wow.
You work 10 years with a progressive raise. In your 11th year, you get no raise other than what the state step is or whatever.
Okay.
It's not it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're topped out.
Yeah.
For the most part. And I got paid like I had a master's anyway because of the trade.
Nice.
Which
Sure.
was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a little bit of a problem with folks that taught academics, but I did my best to help with geometry and math, everything that I could, chemistry, anything else.
Yeah.
Tried to incorporate it, but as much as you can talk a young redneck into doing, like myself.
Chemistry. I thought that was something we did with the girls.
Yeah, not exactly. Anyway,
that was at a
was
time
fun.
when the pendulum was very much swinging the other way, like
Away from
towards trades.
vocational.
Yeah, vocational.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a little bit, but what I told my students is, and a lot of them took it for maybe a blow-off class.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this at all.
I
was down here to...
Because
I remember the auto mechanics kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I did have a few that were, a number of them that were college material.
Mhm.
And I said, guys, if nothing else you get out of this, just when you walk into a repair shop and you're all gonna have to have a car if you move into, even if you move into an inner city somewhere, you're still gonna want a car to come home once in a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Learn enough so that you're not going to get ripped off when you walk into a repair shop.
Yeah.
You know,
Simple
you need to
maintenance.
learn how to do things and learn what it takes and the basic functions of an automobile. So the most fun thing I taught during that was the introduction to transportation service careers. So we got to dabble in everything.
That's interesting.
So truck
That was
driving, bus driving.
Well, mainly the mechanical side of
Okay,
it, maintenance side of it. So trucks, cars, airplanes, boats. So just just a variety of things.
Okay.
So that was a lot of
cool.
fun.
And that-
yeah, it was fun to teach.
You could diversify a path for somebody. Somebody might fall in love with the airplane side of it. Like, I want to be an aircraft mechanic.
And some did. So that was fun.
And
Especially when they
back in
find
the
out.
day, wasn't the auto mechanic building the one directly west. Of the, and then
Yeah. Just
In
maintenance.
the ag barn.
yeah. So did
Yeah,
they were they still doing killing beef when you were in school?
They were.
I remember
They
that when I was
built
a kid. Yeah,
They built that during my tenure there.
really.
Yeah. By the time I got there, they had shut down the
shutting it
processing.
down.
Wait,
part.
you mean in
Yeah,
school,
what they
in
were
local
doing.
school, you actually learned how to
They were
kill
slaughtering and packing
slaughtering.
animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I could
Yeah,
have
they had
used
they
that.
had the old
Couldn't you
I could
today
have.
or
Yeah.
yesterday?
yeah they had the old hammer gun up there.
Oh my gosh.
So, Doc, tell us what you've been doing the last day or two.
Yeah.
Let's hear about your current affairs.
I've been learning to appreciate those people who butcher and process,
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
slaughter, and it is a lot of work. So basically, my brother's neighbor called him up in the past few days and was like, "Yeah, we need to borrow your tractor or something along those lines, and we have a bull that broke his leg. We need to drag it down to the river and kill it." And it's like, so my brother started asking. It turned out being a 4-year-old bull.
Oh,
We just got canceled by PETA, by the way. But
That's
thanks,
fine.
thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
We don't want them anyway.
hey.
So we just turned that bull around and marched him right up to my brother's land, my brother's and my dad's land, and went to work on him yesterday. And we worked a solid 15 hours.
You just finished today.
Yesterday, and then another 5 hours today. Now we're a bunch of guys that could have used something like that in high school.
Yeah, everybody could.
Everybody.
Because we're kind of learning just like I'm a YouTube mechanic, right? Well, I'm a YouTube butcher as well,
Right.
and we're just kind of learning it on the fly.
Miguel experienced a little bit of that after shooting a deer.
Yeah.
YouTube,
Did you this year?
lab.
When I was in
Yeah. So,
California, until I got here.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it gives you a good respect for what you're eating too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
There's a whole new understanding when you process it and prepare it
Sure.
and then eat it. There's a whole new understanding to that.
And I feel like we had a little meat last night. We just kind of served us up
This guy
some
says he
really
has a
tough steaks.
Little meat. Yeah.
Little meat.
The Whiskey Bros never
Yeah.
have a little meat.
But I,
That we might have been born with a little
oh,
meat,
man.
but
Okay, valid. Now we have a lot of meat. I will put it that way.
it's going on the grill. It's not a little meat.
But you can, like, I could get a sense for the taste from the smell of the meat. And I'm starting to get that with hog now,
Yeah.
too. I can tell how worthy the meat it's going.
Yeah, me and Chance.
How flavorful.
Didn't you get a little bit of that?
No, y'all did not.
Oh,
No,
that's
I have
right.
not
'cause
had one damn
Doc
thing to
stole
eat.
every
Yeah.
bit of the meat.
That's
He took all the meat.
Yeah, we cleaned
I know,
4
that's
pigs
rough.
in one night, and he's like, "I'm going to prepare these fancy dishes, these
How'd that
pork
work
dishes."
out for the rest
I
of
butchered
you?
It-
them
yeah,
in
it
my
didn't work out
kitchen
good at all.
counter, and
Yeah.
I just haven't perfected the recipes enough that it's worthy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he don't want to give it
Okay.
to us until it's 100%.
Yeah.
I got you.
So we're still working. We're gonna have to
Freezer
kill
burnt.
more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have to kill more hogs now.
And it also
That
gives
could
you
happen.
a good appreciation for a sharp knife.
It is
my
true.
God.
Yeah,
It is true. I don't have enough.
Yeah.
Sharp knives.
You really can't. By the time, I mean, you could use 3 knives processing out a carcass.
I
And
got tennis elbow on both sides from running that knife, and which is dull as shit now.
So do
Yep.
you use a bandsaw as well, or
Saws
just
off.
Yeah,
saws off?
actually, sawzall.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a side note here, but since we're talking about this subject, I guess vegans have taken it upon themselves to introduce January as now Veganuary.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Or Veganuary, something I forget. But so now there's a rebuttal from carnivores, and we're trying
Yeah.
to make this
I know what it is.
the month of carnivorism.
No, you know what it is it takes such a commitment to be a vegan that they have to recommit themselves every year.
every
You know.
day almost.
Because I mean, honestly, it sucks being a vegan.
It's got to.
I mean,
you
I mean,
treat
think
some?
about it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just, it's. I mean, it's
So
you're
do they
not
have to have
taking in
vitamins?
enough like
Do they have to
nutrition.
have a lot of vitamin supplement, or do
I've
they have
treated
health
a few.
issues?
I'll put it that way.
And protein too.
We don't
Protein,
have a lot of vegans in Decatur.
No.
We know a vegetarian. I don't know that I know a vegan.
I'm so glad we brought up
locally.
vegans because
Yeah.
we had a 2-day volleyball tournament, and I'm going to switch this over to Miguel here in a minute because it's a little racist that I'm doing this, but you'll understand why. So we went to a burrito place, let's say, and there's really only two, chain burrito place.
What's racist about that?
Well, I'm not to that part yet, but
okay.
I'm getting there.
I mean, burritos.
So we all go into this burrito place, and I'm looking at the menu. I come in and I see vegan chorizo, bro.
Oh,
Yeah, vegan chorizo. I don't even know what that is. I love chorizo, but what is vegan chorizo?
yeah. What is it made out of?
I don't know. Something. I don't know, but what I was going to
Cardboard.
say is that vegans also need to be knowledgeable of what they're eating.
And they're not.
No,
They're not.
God,
Yeah,
no.
a lot of them are not.
No.
And I want to say, because I experienced this with a coworker. We went out to eat to a Mexican place, and we were all having carne asada, having beef. And she decides to have a bean and cheese burrito. Well, what do they make beans with and flour tortillas with? Lard.
Lard.
Yeah.
Lard.
I mean, traditionally, yeah.
Exactly.
But she
Maybe
didn't-
not no more.
She didn't know that.
But we told her after.
Okay, good for you.
But it's I equate veganism to a diet. Okay, so these people are ideologically determining that they're going to eat a certain way.
Yeah,
Just
that's not the way they're looking at it, though. They are looking at it like they are saving the planet. That's their thing. They
yeah,
don't
so
care
there's
about the
a little
nutritional.
virtue signaling going
little,
on.
yeah.
But it's got to be fucking hard. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And if I were going to be vegan, I would probably make it through 3 weeks in January and
Wait a minute,
then
you could
fall
go
off.
3 weeks?
I doubt it. I really do.
I'm ashamed
There's
you're
no
even
way.
trying.
I
3.5 days. No, I'm not. I
Okay.
can't. Yeah, I just killed a cow.
Well, let's.
Yeah.
If I don't have meat with a meal, I really didn't eat.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels that way, right? Like,
Right.
okay, this
Yeah.
was an appetizer. Where's the main course now?
Yeah.
But
Well,
so
the
that's.
best thing before we get out of this rabbit hole. What's the
I told you.
that was the best saying. What was it on Ashton Kutcher the ranch?
Yeah.
When they asked homeboy what he ate, and it was like, or he had to stop eating meat and drinking whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
What was the saying of that? That was the best freaking thing I think I've ever
People
heard.
send me that all the time. They still do. This is you.
It is. It's genius. Though.
Yeah, the doctor was saying, like, okay, I need you to stop eating red meat. And I need you to stop drinking whiskey.
Pass.
Pass. And then she's like, okay, well, what do you do to manage your stress? I eat steak and drink whiskey.
Drink whiskey. Yeah.
It's a great line.
Hello.
It is.
There you go.
Oh,
So,
God. Yeah.
not surprising. It's vegan chorizo
Yeah.
is made out of soy. Not surprising at all.
All right. Auto shop class.
You just should
Okay,
not
back
eat
on
it.
track.
But
Okay.
the point of that was January is now, according to us, should be known as Happy Carnivore Month. So happy
Yes.
Carnivore Month to everybody in this room.
That's an easy commitment to make. I can be a carnivore.
Damn right.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life and have no problem with it.
I mean, if you're not going to kill and
Yeah.
eat the animal, another animal is going to kill and eat that animal.
I mean,
So-
I'm so committed to it. I have gout. The doctor told me to stop eating it, and I was, screw you, doctor. You don't know what you're talking about.
you know what, Doc? Just cut off my foot.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, just cut it off.
I mean, the way I see it, keeping the cycle of life going.
Yeah,
That's right.
you go.
We're just
Yeah.
playing our part.
That's right.
That's right. Lubing the machine.
Yep.
Speaking of, okay, back to auto shop.
Yeah.
Talking about
Okay,
lube.
back to auto
Yeah.
shop. It was a great life. I really enjoyed it. I miss it almost every day
Yeah.
because
With
that
the teaching
interaction
part.
with the teaching part.
Do
So
they even still teach that in school, though?
They do.
Do they? Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah,
good.
they do. There's some push back swinging the other way toward vocational.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to
And,
big voices like Mike Rowe and
Oh, yeah.
those types, Mike Holmes. Those guys are really picking up the necessity of you
Yeah.
got to have blue collar jobs too.
Sure,
you have
sure.
to have those.
And then
Yeah.
that's another thing I told my students. I said, look, even if you're going to college, work your way through school.
Mhm.
You know, help out dad a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or mom and dad a little bit. You know, do a little work.
yeah. Learn a
You
skill.
know, learn a skill.
Mhm.
You know, just
Learn to
supplement your income.
Learn to change your own oil,
Yeah.
which I guess is becoming a thing of the past as cars get more and more electrified.
Oh, I hate to say it, but I'll let somebody else change my own oil.
Yeah.
My oil,
Well, okay,
most
you
of
get-
my machinery,
you get
not
to
everything.
an age, and you're like, I'm
Well,
just
it's
going
not
to
an
pay to
age.
have this
It's
stuff.
not an age thing. It's a convenience. It's
Yeah.
a time thing.
Yeah.
And
Well-
plus, you've seen the inside of my shop. I can't get to my car lift.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's huge in between. So it's quicker to get.
You'd have to do a day's worth of work
yeah,
just
it's
to
just
get
to
to oil
get.
change.
Yeah, it's to get to. so I don't have to do it on the ground.
Well, at what point did you decide after auto mechanics? I know you worked
For years. All my students came in and they're like, "Hey, I looked up what you make here." The ones that were in the business, they're like, "Double that."
Yeah.
It's like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, well, so eventually, after that 11th year and no real raise, then you start looking at that. So I opened my own shop at that point, and it was a good experience.
Yeah. How long did you have Burns Auto?
8 years.
Was it 8 years?
Yeah, it was 8 years. It was a campaign promise to sell it.
Okay.
So I only made 2 promises during my campaign period. And when
What was the
people
second
call
one?
me, the second one was a stop sign for Miss Shirley Scott
Oh, okay.
near her house. And it took me about 2 years to get to that because I got an engineer to look at it and make sure it was a viable
Place for a stop sign?
Okay. Before we did it. But those were my 2. So
Well, let's bridge
people
that.
still call me all the time now and say, "You promised." That's not my vocabulary as a commissioner.
Yeah.
We don't promise because I tell you I'm going to be there tomorrow to fill a pothole and a tree falls across the road somewhere else. I will not be there to fill a pothole because we are going to make the roads open and as safe as
Passable.
possible.
Yeah.
Right.
So we cannot make a promise that
Okay.
we're going to appear somewhere at a certain time because we have to. We don't have that much labor force.
Let's bridge that gap then, and we'll get into the details of commissioner and being a commissioner and what.
Yeah,
that
I'm kind of
entails.
curious because
So
I couldn't tell you what commissioner does.
What led you down the path of wanting to run and be a commissioner?
Well, there were quite a few people trying to talk me into it. I never really thought about it. There were guys coming by my shop because I was volunteer fireman, and I really didn't go through my story very well, but during that period of time,
It might have interrupted you.
well, that's okay. That's okay. Too many. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So
That's the best way to look at it.
So I've dabbled in a lot of stuff, but worked at equipment dealership. Worked at 2 different ones in town, and then taught a while. Worked for DWC Tire Field. I busted tires for almost a year.
Okay.
Before I was going to go to college. But then, when I opened that shop, that was fairly lucrative, for a young guy. But when we got guys coming by the shop all the time, whether it be commissioners or fire chiefs, because I'm a volunteer fireman at that point. I was a volunteer fireman through my whole career as a teacher, for the most part. Was fire chief for 4.5 years.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of, I live 8 miles from the fire department.
Yeah.
So, their Decatur was growing, not exponentially yet, but the area around Decatur was growing quite a bit. And I knew it was just a matter of time before, you'd have a paid department. And
Yeah.
Of course, every volunteer aspires to be a captain or training captain, and I went through that progression as captain, fire officer, and then training captain, and then assistant chief, and then chief.
Indicator?
Indicator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And,
Yeah.
it was kind of fun for the kids when I was teaching auto mechanics because for 15 minutes during the class before a Tuesday night meeting, they were always curious. I always had a fire truck in there for them to maintain.
Oh, okay.
So we maintained all of them at that point. We were
probably
driving
cool.
them through and
Made them feel prideful of what they're
certainly,
working on. It's
certainly,
not just any old car.
Yeah, but I'd work on while they were doing their lab part. I might be working on a curriculum for fire training.
Okay.
Late in the evening, we started at 7, and they're always, what are you teaching tonight on Tuesdays? So I'd give them a little lesson,
Yes.
just what I was going to teach, and they enjoyed it. and I got good feedback from that.
A little rehearsal.
A little
Yeah.
rehearsal before I had to be in front of my real peers as firemen. So that was neat. So I've had some really, I've had a charmed life as far as vocation.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It was like turning a community project into a community project. It's like their maintaining of the fire vehicles. And so that's really cool.
Yeah. Because we worked on anything for free.
Yeah.
I like to do what we were talking about in lecture part of the class because we do lecture part in the lab, but I like to, align it, but I couldn't always align it. Sometimes we did a break job when we were talking about engines because one of the teachers that doesn't make a lot of salary, they need something done, they come down, we try to accommodate. We do it, just for parts.
Yeah, that's the best way to learn. You're getting your instructional part in the classroom, and then you're getting your actual hands-on.
But sometimes it was backwards. Sometimes you do the lab before you do the lecture, but they got the basics down. So it didn't always align perfectly. But anyway, that was pretty seamless.
Yeah.
Poor Brent Williams had to watch my class when we had a fire during the daytime, in the
Brent and Philip Askey, that was their era too.
Yeah, he came across, and he was a pseudo fireman because he had to take care of. I had 18 to 22 kids.
Wow.
Per class.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot. That's a lot of thumbs to mash.
Yeah.
And a lot of toes to drop a jack on. And a lot of it's very dangerous. Didn't have a lot of injuries. And one funny injury that I'll have to tell you about, and let me back up and see what led to it. What led to it was one of the funniest experiences I ever had. I had a young Hispanic kid. So I had one class with 21 Mexicans and one white kid.
Huh.
And they were the most fun.
Yeah.
And they were hungry for information. They weren't economically, they were economically disadvantaged.
Yeah.
They weren't, they weren't from affluent families.
Yeah.
They were there.
And we're talking about first generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
First generation. Some of them English was second language.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're so much fun because they were so hungry for information.
Yeah.
So I was teaching them to solder one day. So I was stripping a wire and they're all gathered around me, and I'm stripping a copper wire. I said, you strip back about 1.5 inches. That was prior to, think about it now, it's way back because this is prior to heat shrink.
Yeah.
I had to actually use electric tape back in the day. But I tell them, clean it, strip it back, twist it together. And I had this student, and he's pulling on my shirt sleeve. Mr. Burns, I got to talk to you. Like, Miguel? His name was Miguel. Miguel? What? Just a minute. When I finish this, he said, no, I'm going to have to talk to you right now.
Oh.
And I said, come outside. I need to talk to you. So I had a pocket knife. Give you a little example. Wasn't quite this big. So I'm trimming that wire, and he said, come out here with me.
Yeah.
So we stepped outside the door. He said, us Mexicans will respect you a lot more if you carry a bigger knife.
It was important that he tell you that right away.
Now.
For my benefit. That was priceless.
That's awesome.
So I didn't carry my belt knife or, my back pocket knife like I did buck knife at school.
Yeah.
But I started doing it just because it was funny and fun. So the next day I brought my buck knife, and you don't know my habits, but back in the day, just in case, I'm an outdoorsy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Used to kill when I was teaching. You don't make a lot of money, so you kill wild game for supplements.
Oh, yeah.
For food.
And live right down the road. It's very rural.
Yeah.
So so I had a buck knife almost all the time. But like I say, I didn't carry it in school, or at least it was in my truck. But I sharpen it every morning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Every morning.
Really?
Let's see.
Yeah, just do a little
That's
quick.
a good habit.
So just real
Yeah.
quick before I put it in my pocket, run it over the wet rock a couple of times, put it in my pocket. And one of the students one day, worst injury in the entire tenure of my experience there, kid said, Mr. Burns, I need to borrow your pocket knife. And I pulled out the little, here you go.
Yeah.
No, not that one. I can't reach the wire up under the dash to strip it. And I said, no, you don't need to use my big knife. It's incredibly sharp.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I just can't get to it with a small knife. So, all right, but be very careful. So handed it to him. 2 minutes later, here he comes, like
Blood running down
like
the hand.
like squirt.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Even
That's-
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had
It's a bad day for a teacher.
yeah.
Yeah.
So quick trip to the hospital.
That's
But it's funny now, but wasn't so funny at the time.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Administration's like, where did he get the knife from,
Well,
Mr. Burns?
well, that was very common. If you're an ag student or auto mechanic student, you're going to have an eye.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
times were a little different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back
I
then.
mean,
A
you
lot.
didn't have one. You need to go home and get it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Decatur was
That's
a
like
rural.
uniform.
Yeah,
A rural-
Decatur was
rural-
rural back then. Rural back then.
Rural. God, one of my wife's friends, we were talking about, they went to Northwest, okay? You know, which around here, Northwest was like posh.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, you know, they
It still
graduated
is.
5 years after I graduated,
Yeah.
but I was talking about being brought up in a rural school district. I'm like, all of our teachers, you know, you got paddled.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just see like her face melting into agony. And I started describing like paddles with holes drilled in them for better aerodynamics and more, you know, more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
She's like, that's abuse. I'm like, we got abused a lot.
Yeah, we
Never affected me.
I'm sure you deserved every bit of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So basically, Miguel Crocodile Dundee'd you.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's not a knife.
That's me. Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine that's just how that Miguel sounded too.
That's exactly how he sounded.
not a knife.
That's not a knife.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade for it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not getting anywhere.
No, we're not going to that. Yeah, we're not getting to the commissioner part.
I
Which
kind
is
of want to
great.
know what a
You know.
commissioner even does.
Well,
I could not
continue
tell
the
you.
story before we get
Yeah.
to what
Okay.
you actually do.
Simplify it. Tell us when the hell you got
Yeah.
elected. When was your first term
My-
as commissioner?
My first term commissioner started in 2003.
Wow.
So
It
I've
is
been
20 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is the 21st year.
Okay.
Start of the 21st year. So there were several guys coming by the shop, and they were asking me to be fire marshal because our fire marshal was ill.
Yeah.
And couldn't do the job. And they said, look, I know you're giving big money for insurance for you and your family. So it was going skyrocketing at that point. And not much salary, but you get insurance and you can do it part time. You can keep your shop here
Yeah.
and do fire marshal. And it's like, just don't have the time for it. Maybe later, but anyway, the guy got better, which is great, and can continue. And then the same guys kept coming by the shop. Well, why don't you run for commissioner?
Mm-hmm.
And, finally, there was some malfeasance in one of the precincts. The Texas Ranger, Lane Aiken, when he was Texas Ranger, was one of my customers. When it was simple repairs, major repairs went to Austin.
Okay.
To the big shop, but brake jobs and little things like that, little problems with cars. I worked on some of the highway patrol's cars and Texas Ranger. So he came in really mad one day after a charge on a county commissioner was dropped from a felony to a misdemeanor. and he was really upset and threw his brand new hat down in the floor of my shop, greasy floor of the shop, and ruined a brand new hat.
And those aren't black hats.
No, it was a real pretty white silver belly, expensive hat.
So he's mad at you?
No, he's mad because of the situation.
Oh, okay.
And he's venting a little bit, and because we talked a lot.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, been
Yeah.
a friend a long time. So anyway, he said, "Why don't you run for commissioner?" And I said, "Lane, I'm not even in that precinct." No.
Yeah.
He's just, I can't run for that job. He said, "Well, run for one of the other ones. Then wherever you are, you need to do that." All right, I'll think about it. So I blame it on him.
Okay. Lane can
When
put
it's
you in
bad
that spot.
Yeah, when it's a bad day.
Should have never listened to that guy.
No. And how many years later?
2021.
14 years later. No. 16 years later. I talked him into running
For sheriff. Turnabout is fair play, my friend. Turnabout is fair play.
It is. I didn't really talk him into it. He was looking into it and came to visit with me, but I'm proud he did, and I'm proud he's been sheriff as long as he has. He's just a
How old were you when you
super great guy.
started as commissioner?
What would that make me?
You're 62
Yeah.
now?
43.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 43 or about to be.
Wow.
Yeah,
God,
that
seems like eons ago.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
But time flies
It seems
still.
like yesterday to me.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. It is the most rewarding job and the most frustrating job I've ever had, and a lot of times in the same day.
Wow.
Because when you ask what a commissioner does,
Yeah.
you're kind of a clearinghouse for all problems, but you can't solve very many problems because you don't have the authority.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You're
Texas-
the middle guy?
Yeah, but about all you can give in most situations when someone calls is advice.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't have a lot of power.
So
you don't have any power outside of the road.
Okay.
I mean, that's your only
County roads
county roads is
in
about
your
it.
precinct.
In your precinct.
Yeah.
Now you are in charge of that. You are the steward of the right of way.
Okay.
That's what
Interesting.
That's what.
Now I feel like
Vernon-
we're getting somewhere. So
Okay,
that's
now
that's cool.
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, we're finally to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you.
I mean, it's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah, for sure.
But your job is and for most people that are not a victim of crime, that live in the country, live outside the city limits, you're not a victim of crime, and you don't need an ambulance. You don't get any service from the county
Sure.
except the roadway. Now,
Yeah.
if you trade property, if you buy and sell property, buy and sell a house, you're going to need the county for the records.
Okay.
Or real
Sure.
estate
Yeah.
records, things like that. That's where you file things with the county clerk. Or if you're in trouble, you're going to court.
Yeah.
Or you're suing someone, you're using the court system.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just you and I,
Yeah.
hopefully not having any trouble with neighbors, not having any legal difficulty, the only thing you're getting from the county, now you're getting protection from the sheriff's office, but you
Yeah.
don't see that.
Right.
You don't visualize that.
They're not
All
there
you
until you
see-
need them.
All you see are the condition of the road and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
safety of the road. And that's the only thing that you really have the authority to take care of. But
Okay.
it's within the budget,
Yeah.
within the economy of scale that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you did everything we needed to do, my budget would be $6 to $8 million.
You'd be blowing it out.
Every day.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like the budgets in Parker County, but they're double our size.
Right.
So what you're telling us is Ukraine's got some fabulous roads right now.
I don't know that. They're probably all bombed out, but I doubt that they do. They've got some big potholes, probably.
Busy commissioners over there.
Yeah, but and I don't even know who maintains the roads in a lot of other
we
states.
do.
But in a
It's
lot
probably
of
where our money's going from.
a lot of other states, the state maintains almost all the roads.
Yeah.
All, I mean,
So there's no county commissioners.
There are,
But
but
they're different
they
roles?
do different. They
Different
do
roles.
different roles.
Okay,
They
so-
may be over school system. They may be over utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of other things.
State of
So
Texas.
is unique. Almost any state has, and some of them don't even call them commissioners. They call them supervisors, board of supervisors,
Okay.
or jurors.
Okay.
They call them jurors in Louisiana.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
so you've got.
And they call their counties parishes too.
Yeah, that's
They're a
correct.
little French
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
there, you know.
But when you're a Texas county commissioner, you're under a Reconstruction type government after the Civil War, where there's your semblance of power is in the state of Texas.
Okay.
So it's permissive. So if you're not permitted by the state, and if it's not in state statute, then you're forbidden to do it.
Okay.
Interesting.
How does that
So you
Yeah.
have very little, there's very little there discretion.
Right.
Okay.
It's got to be explicit.
Yeah.
This is getting deep. I think we need
Nah.
some Miguel's
Oh.
homebrew
Okay.
Wait, what do
Okay.
we have here?
and another empanada.
I
Because I got questions.
I got
to ask,
empanadas.
boys.
Okay.
I got questions
Yes.
to ask.
The,
And
would
they'll
you
get
like
more
a-
difficult as the
You want to do the honors, Miguel?
a cayeta?
Here, I'm going to let Miguel talk
or
into
a
my
pino.
mic.
so Miguel is a brewer from way back. He had a brew shop in San Diego
Yeah.
In Mexico.
and in Mexico.
I
And
used
he
to bike a lot. That's why.
he grows his own hops. Wasn't able to this year because of weather.
Okay.
Because of weather and because of grasshoppers.
Hey, Miguel, go that way a little bit.
Lean into the mic and tell us
Yeah,
what
towards Doc a little
tell
bit.
us what
Yeah.
you're pouring for.
So
Yeah,
this
lean
is
over.
gonna sound scary, but
Yeah.
it's a double IPA, 9.5% alcohol. What makes it easier to drink are the type of hops that I put in there. I am using what they call cryo hops. These are hops that normally
And
you get the
I don't
flour
need that
and
much.
the lupulin is the
Okay.
important part of the hop flour. So they extract the lupulin crystals by
That's plenty. He doesn't listen well. Not at all.
by
It's wasted on me. I'm not a beer drinker.
flash freezing
Me
the,
neither.
the hops, and so that gets you just a pure lupulin. It has no bitterness aftertaste, and I put a little bit of caramel malt, which is not in your traditional IPAs. It's in your older IPAs, so it kind of blends the hop bitterness with the caramel taste of it.
Ah.
Good. That's refreshing.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Appreciate it, bro.
Cheers. Salud.
There's
Oh wow.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You weren't on a mic, but did you just say saloon?
Salud.
Salud.
Okay, I was just making sure. I thought I heard something.
What does that even mean?
He's actually from Mexico, not from
Salud.
Oh, he's not from California. That's right.
yeah, salute. So I've got to share something with you. When I got to know Miguel, so he's from
Oh, that's
Ensenada,
good.
originally from Ensenada, Mexico, and I told him and told me, moved here from San Diego when I got acquainted with him. I said, Miguel, you will be much more accepted here if you tell people you're from Ensenada.
Well, he did because I don't know if you remember this, but when you brought him to Whiskey Club for the first time, that's how you just told me, "Hey, this is my neighbor," and he's like, "Yeah, I just moved in." And I asked him, I said, "Where'd you move from?" And he paused just for a second. He goes, Mexico." So it worked.
It worked.
So usually a double IPA has me cringing a
Yeah,
bit.
knocks your
But this
socks
one's
A bitterness and hoppiness. This
yeah,
is,
but this one's like a toasty. It's
yeah,
different.
Very well
Yeah, that's
balanced.
not bad
very
at all.
silky, smooth.
Yeah.
I bet it would go great with a pineapple empanada.
That's what I'm thinking too. So what are you?
pineapple,
What are you
huh?
holding out on this for? over
Pineapple.
there?
Yeah,
The
okay.
Pina.
Holding those over
Not
here.
Sieta. You don't
Piña.
want Sieta.
Well, we already had those.
Okay. You didn't have both?
No.
Not yet. You're hoarding them.
Yeah, we did it right. Yeah, we're still waiting on you to pass them out.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
Buy
Dang,
buy
those are.
some empanadas off the side of the
So,
road.
so can you tell us what parking lot you got these out of so I can get them too? Jeez, they're
Tractor
great.
Supply.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
I think I seen him up there. Was it this weekend? I did see him up there.
Hour and a half ago.
Yeah, those are great.
So there's some cool things. Like if you happen to see green
those
chilies
are good.
in Tractor Supply parking
No,
lot,
that's at Lowe's.
that's at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Grab those.
Those are great too.
Apparently, if you see empanadas there, grab them. If you see dogs, like random dogs being sold, you may not want to grab those.
No, leave those.
Yeah.
Just don't ask questions.
Don't pick up homeless people.
These are good, but I like the other ones better. The cajeta?
Cajeta?
Yeah, that cajeta empanada goes amazing with that whiskey.
It probably goes well with this beer as well. Yes.
So
Okay.
back to
Candy
what a
Rush.
commissioner does.
Yeah.
You are 1/5 of the vote for the entire county operation, and that is law enforcement, emergency medical, courts, clerks, judges. We only supplement judges, just their basically insurance.
Okay.
They're paid by the state,
Okay.
or some of them are.
Are
So
all
anyway,
counties in Texas, are they all commissioner or 4 commissioners
no
per
matter
county?
the size. I serve on the urban counties of Texas, and I sit beside someone from Harris County. Harris County, the Harris County commissioner or the judge has more people working for him than we do in the entire county.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a
busy place.
totally
Yeah.
different because that's 3.3 million in the rural area of Harris County.
Jeez.
Gotcha.
So you're just, it's so much different.
And if you don't know
Out
where
of 254
it's
counties.
Houston, greater
Yeah,
Houston, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there were just so much difference in the counties. Like Loving County, I don't know where they are right now. They had 87 people. I don't know what the census is this year, but they have 4 commissioners and a judge.
And you get out in far west Texas where you
That's
have counties that are millions of acres or hundreds of thousands of square miles that are but 4
Sanderson County
Yeah.
and that out in there. There's not much population, but
Wow.
they're all represented.
And then in the
And
4 votes, 4 commissioners, and the 5th will be the county judges.
that's correct. And he
Judge
is,
Clark did the other day.
and he's the chair of the commissioners court.
Okay.
So he has the right to move motions, and he's full member of the court. But most judges choose not to. They choose to just chair
Yeah.
and do parliamentary procedure side and
Be the tiebreaker.
and beat the tiebreaker. But JD, thankfully, he votes on everything that he's unless there's a conflict, and I don't believe I've ever seen one that he votes just so that he'll be of record on to make sure people know how he votes, how he feels
feel
about
like-
a subject, which is absolutely great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them don't.
Okay.
They remain neutral, and you don't know what they're thinking,
Right.
Yeah.
where their proclivities.
But they
lie.
are a vital. part of the-
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Their job is to present the budget to the commissioner's court, and then we can pick it apart. We can change it. My goodness, it's refreshing that we have JD, because I choose not to, because he does such a good job. He meets with all department heads and other elected officials individually and treats them with respect and doles that out as fairly as possible.
So you said there's 4 precincts. Are they all pretty equal in size, or is
No,
there
not at all. They're
So there's-
equal in number of people,
Okay, but,
within 5%.
but size, there's bigger one and a small, and I
Oh
guess the
yeah,
smallest.
I have 345 miles of road to take care of.
Eee, are you the biggest one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have about a third of the county,
Oh wow.
but not a third of the budget.
Right.
So closer to a quarter of the budget. Actually, have somewhere in the neighborhood of 27% of the budget, somewhere in that.
How does that
range.
get delegated, by people or by?
That gets that. We decide that during the budget
Okay.
process.
Okay, just depending on like jobs that y'all need to get done or stuff
no,
like that. Or?
no, it's just purely political.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So smallest precinct has in the 150 mile. So less than half of mine, but
You kind of have like the most rural part of the county?
I do because I'm furthest away from the metroplex.
Okay.
So you say
So we all have about a little over 15,000 people, somewhere in the 17,000 range.
So it's divvied up
And every
by representation of number of people.
Yeah. So Precinct 2 has had to grow the last 2 censuses, and I've been there for them
Mm-hmm.
in office. So Precinct 2 grew into
tongue twister.
into Decatur and into Bridgeport to catch more people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so that we can represent the same number of people.
Then you
Man,
get
that's
accused of
deep.
gerrymandering when you do that, right?
Well, it's pretty contiguous. There's nothing.
Right.
It's just a little dip that looks like a thumb that goes down into those.
Okay.
So we try to keep it as fair as possible. And thankfully, the other guys tried to keep the number of road miles down as much as possible when we did that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I gained a couple. So,
And not a lot of budget.
not a lot of budget.
So,
But,
when you say it grew, do y'all have so I know the cities used to, when the city got too cramped or whatever the reason, they could just expand and say, now this is the city limit. Now it's got to be voted. Is the county that same way? Do y'all have to, like when they, what's the word I'm looking for?
Zone?
we don't expand and we don't zone. We
There's
don't
no
no
county
zoning
zoning.
authority.
Okay,
Are there
so
any counties
what
that have zoning authorities?
There,
Sorry, Saj.
no, it's all right.
let's see.
I didn't know if that's a thing in the state or not.
Hood County has a little bit around the lake
Okay.
because so much of it is lake that they have some zoning authority.
Okay.
And I think in one of the other counties has just a small amount, but it's minuscule.
Yeah.
But we have zero, so that's one of my largest number of calls is for incompatible land use because you have a pig farm next to Chance that is just trying to raise a family.
Get your pigs away from my cows,
Yeah.
bro.
Well,
pigs.
if you do a subdivision, there is a quarter mile or so buffer zone that's state mandated.
Yeah.
But if you don't have if you're not in a subdivision, put it right up against his back door.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's very little you can do. And most of the people that come here from somewhere in a city that's had the pleasure of zoning, you're used to that, and you don't have that here at all. So
Yeah. They're
I
in the
try to
Wild
be
West.
exactly. It's what I tell them. Exactly what I tell them. And I said, look, try to be as nice as possible, as accommodating as possible. But it comes down to whatever your neighbor is doing, you have to embrace it,
That's his land.
move, or buy it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are your choices.
Yeah, that's truth right there.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There are no, because Commissioner's Court can't help you
Yeah.
with an incompatible land use.
But that's also, I'm hanging on something you said, like it's purely political, meaning that
as far as the budget's concerned.
Yeah, as far as the budget.
Between the precincts, yeah.
Yeah, but so basically you're making the case that, okay, say you're
But I'm basically one vote because
you're one vote.
All the rest are smaller.
Yeah.
So it helps out everybody if they peel away from my precinct.
Okay,
So
I got
it's
you.
very hard to get somebody to vote with me.
Gotcha. Jeez.
Yeah. So we make do, but we have less personnel per mile, less dollars per mile in precinct two.
What is the
So-
state mandated buffer that you were talking about?
Oh, it's literally for swine.
Okay.
I think that's the only thing that's listed.
So-
Is swine.
How does that work? This is the first time I've ever heard of this. Of course, I'm not a pig farmer, so
Right, but there's not too many. But you've got to be a quarter mile away from a subdivision.
to have a swine operation.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's not very far.
No, that's not.
You're still going to smell it.
1,320 feet.
That's
Not very far.
That odor carries for
Yeah.
sure.
So there's not much there.
Okay, I've
and
never
that's
heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm full of
good information.
useless facts, more or less.
But then
just
this-
because people ask, and I have to
Yeah.
research it and
Right.
find out. Thankfully, we have a
interesting.
listserv for all commissioners through the Commissioners and Judges Association. So we can just put it on the web, and if you've got a problem, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody's dealt it.
There's 1,045 of us in the state between commissioners and judges, 254 counties. So they're
You can problem solve.
you can problem solve on the internet. It's pretty easy to do.
A little birdie dropped by just a minute ago and said about issues involving regulating mailboxes on county roads.
My.
And
That's a tough one. And what is really tough is that people feel like they have the right to put a mailbox out in the right of way.
impeding the flow of
Traffic
or commerce. As a commissioner, I guess it's the moniker comes from. You're enabling commerce, right?
Yeah, you are. But if you're turning in at your mailbox, you're going 5 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That mailbox is not very dangerous. But if you're going down the road, and our speed limits are almost all 40 miles an hour, and most people don't drive 40 miles an hour. Most people drive whatever they feel comfortable driving.
Yep.
I'll get to that.
Unless they're Chance or Doc, obviously. Yeah.
But I'll get to that another thing in a moment. But that's a really sore subject. And it's a sore subject with me because back in 2005, I believe it was, the commissioner's court got the right to the right of way, just between the fences, basically.
Okay.
The roadway, the road surface plus drainage.
Yeah.
So it's no longer the landowners. And there was a provision. You got something in your tax bill that says, hey, if you got a problem with the road width, you got a problem with the alignment of the road, speak now or forever hold your peace. 2 people showed up to a hearing after a 2-year period of looking at that. And they didn't even, that wasn't a problem for them. They just want to speak.
Yeah.
That wasn't an issue. But people just think they have the God-given right to kill someone with a mailbox.
So
I lost a buddy to a mailbox.
Are you kidding? So this is a real thing. This isn't a hypothetical situation.
This isn't a hypothetical
That happened.
It happened. I have a buddy that hit one in Real County.
Yeah.
And it killed him.
Just like a brick and mortar mailbox?
Brick and mortar mailbox. And if you haven't looked it up, there's a ASHTO, and I don't remember and it's a highway safety organization. And if you'll look on the internet and look up ASHTO and their tests, there's no way you can survive hitting a mailbox. At speed. At speed. It'll either up in the car or it enters the car, the bricks enter the car through the windshield. It'll go through all 3 layers of the windshield. My buddy hit one on a motorcycle. There's no way he could survive it.
I mean,
he survived for a couple of weeks. And
it's stuff a lot of people wouldn't think about.
Well, some people argued with me.
Wow.
It's mine, and you can't take it down. We will eventually.
Yeah.
As we get time, and we may never have time because we're stretched.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to take care of complaints. We don't have time to take care of what I see in a day's time in the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to drive my roads. I was driving them once a month.
Okay.
It takes 4 days to drive the roads in Precinct 2, the through roads, the loops.
Yeah.
But not the dead ends. It takes 7 days to drive them all and do all the dead ends.
Okay.
That's a lot of miles. And going and speeding.
Yeah.
Not even going 40 miles an hour. It takes that long.
So what regulation comes out of that then? You have to set your mailbox off
the road or make it a breakaway design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Breakaway design. 4-inch wooden post.
Yeah.
And where it plucks it out of the ground when you hit it from the bottom and goes over the top of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way
pure
to do
shrapnel coming through the windshield.
Yeah. That's the design. And ASHTO, and we have in our subdivision rules that if you and in our driveway permits that mailboxes aren't permitted.
Yeah.
And then we want to see engineering on driveways, or we want to send the engineer out to take a look at it and see what kind of safety and treatments on a culvert or something like that. Just keep people safe. Keep
That's
the
just one of those
public
obscure one-off things that you would never think of.
No, I would have thought it would have been federal
the state,
regulation.
Now, the state took them off the highways years ago.
Yeah.
Like decades ago, probably 4 decades ago.
Okay.
So if you had a brick mailbox out there, they would pull it, haul it away, and plop you down a replacement that's safe.
Okay.
And we will eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have to. And I may not be able to in my tenure. I don't know. But people just defy that.
They don't understand.
And it costs $2,000.
Yeah.
To me, it takes away from the look of the house. You're concentrating on the mailbox and making sure you don't hit it. You never even notice the pretty house behind it.
Look at my
look
mailbox.
But look at my $2,500 death trap out front.
Well, we're going to talk about mailboxes because that's a sore subject for this guy.
Dude, it's a sore subject for you too.
So I want to talk to all those people.
I would not have thought mailboxes would be.
Yeah. Well, I got a different
something of
subject.
consequence.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want all those people bitching at you all about, I can't get my mailbox brick. At least you can get a goddamn mailbox. I can't get mail out to my house, bro.
Because it's too far. I've experienced that as well.
And I don't understand it because I had battles with the postmaster general. He said, he said 51 is the closest they'll come down. I'm like, bro, I literally live 3 minutes off of 51. You can't come to my house? No, we can't do that. So his only option was have my wife and kids pull off in the bar ditch on 51 and put a mailbox there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the county road,
right here.
first, they have mailboxes.
Yeah.
Sorry, we rubbed you wrong.
I'm calling in, Kevin. I need you to fix this.
You know what? I can't fix it. We don't have that authority.
Not state.
We don't have a lot of authority.
I even told him
we certainly don't over that.
Right? No, I even told him because I spend $60 a year on a box.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'll give you $100 a year to come to my house. I was like, what can I do? No, they had zero. No, we don't go down that road.
One thing that you hadn't really mentioned, though,
I
is
think it takes a few people to get them.
Well, I mean, there's only 2 houses on this road before the river.
I mean, it's kind of like fiber, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get it to you. What do you want to pay?
Well, I asked them to, and they were like,
no.
Can't even get mail at my house.
I feel like
I've experienced that for about 20 years.
Yeah, I was
at my
gonna say.
old place.
Are y'all? Are they coming down y'all's road now?
They are.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, lots of folks.
So there's
out
hope for
there.
the future.
There's a whole lot more houses on your road than ours.
there
So,
are.
I like living in town. At this aspect.
When I grew up, I'm digress, but when I grew up just north of here on what's now County Road 3170.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, 4 cars a day.
Yeah.
Literally drove down the road.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably only 4 houses on that whole area, weren't there?
Well, there were a few, but literally that was it, and that was the Mitchell Energy guy to check wells.
Yeah.
Our neighbor that raised cattle, the milk truck.
Yeah.
And
God, I wish we still had that.
And my dad.
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
That's it.
And those roads weren't paved then.
Oh,
either.
No, all gravel.
No, we kept and what's really funny is when people call me and complaining about some color of the post is rusty under the sign, or
oh my God,
something like
good
that.
Old days.
That I think about. We had a 8-in Ford tractor when I was a kid, with a mower hooked up to it all the time so that we could mow the center of the road to keep the chaff from the Johnson grass from stopping up the radiators on our cars.
Wow.
wow.
And we did that personally because all we had was a 2-track road with a little bit of gravel in it.
That's it. That was a
And
county road.
And then when it flooded, we had significant rainfall. And we didn't use the farm tractor to do that. We didn't use the tractor we plowed with. It was simply, we owned that tractor. My dad owned that tractor to maintain the road. We bladed the road a little bit after a rain so that we could still pass. So we could get by. We kept not a box blade, but a little
straight blade,
a little 5-foot straight blade so we could clean up the road a little bit. And almost all landowners did that.
Yeah.
And my dad told me that if you were a landowner back in the day when he was a kid, in lieu of taxes, you could just work for the county for a couple of weeks a year
Really?
to maintain the roads.
Good.
Does that option
God.
still exist?
I doubt it.
Say.
Oh,
Put you on the spot
don't
right
think,
now.
I don't think you'd want to do that because
More like
it's
6 months of servitude.
It'd be a lot more than
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna say, you'd probably-
because the price of materials has skyrocketed. $8 a ton for gravel, and
Yeah.
in the neighborhood of $90 a ton for asphalt.
Okay.
Doesn't go very far.
No.
Yeah. So
Eats up
inflation
a budget really quick.
Yeah, inflation affects your role.
Oh, absolutely. Price of oil affects us greatly.
Wow.
When the price of oil goes up, our liquid asphalt that we use to put on top of the road for chip sealing,
Yeah.
so you're putting 0.4 of 4.45 gallons per square yard on the road.
Okay.
And on a 22-foot wide road, that goes about a mile.
Yeah.
And that truckload of asphalt for chip sealing cost about $20,000.
Wow.
So, and then you add the price
lot
of the
Biden.
chip rock on top of that,
Yeah.
which is not a lot. That's pretty insignificant, but there's a $4,000, somewhere in that range, $3,000 or $4,000
Yeah.
worth of rock to 225 tons, something like that.
So where do you pick up that knowledge?
You pick it up at schools. You're required to have, I believe it's 32 hours
Okay.
of instruction. When you become commissioner, you got to go to a rookie school.
Okay.
They don't do a lot for actual cost of product and
Yeah.
things like that.
It's like
but
the practical knowledge.
It's a practical knowledge thing.
Yeah.
What was really good about the county is most of the employees, like my foreman, has been with the county for close to 40 years.
Yeah. So you're getting your
Yeah.
training hands on.
Yeah. So
For your
you
experience.
get guys, you fall into that, and if you'll listen to your employees when you start,
Yeah.
they will give you the practical.
Okay.
And that's nice. And you get the school of hard knocks as well. You can decide you're going to try something new and innovative that you learned at a school or something like that, and
I mean,
whether it works or not.
Like
But
paint the roads
when it comes
white.
down
Yeah.
to county maintenance, I mean, you're pulling from a lot of experience.
yes,
Yeah.
Some of it started with the equipment dealer because I was required to go out and demonstrate equipment if we sold it. We sold a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Excavators, backhoes, dozers, track loaders, maintainers.
Yeah.
Everything a
and-
big kid loves.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great job, and this one is too. But unfortunately, I don't get to play with those machines
Yeah.
very much. Most of mine is administrative.
Yeah.
My normal day is getting the guys going, figuring out what's a priority,
Yep.
what changed overnight, and literally it changes overnight due to the phone calls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And generally it's just a tree in the road or a washout, something like that, or someone's dumped some trash or dead animals.
Well, that's a good segue. I
whatever
want to
else.
talk more about. I feel like you kind of glossed over county road maintenance and what that entails, and it goes truly underappreciated. Like people just don't really think about it until something has gone awry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can't. But
Well,
it's
we're limited by width
true.
unless we do eminent domain on a landowner's property. Almost all of our roads, what we accumulated in subdivisions,
Uh-huh.
if someone subdivides their property, then we require them to give up 30 to 34 feet from the center of the road so that we're taking care of the growth that's coming
Yeah.
because of that.
You
the
can
traffic.
have traffic passing.
Yeah. So you can have more right of way, so you can build a 24-foot wide road
Yeah.
and have ditches on either side.
For drainage.
Most of our roads, we like to do at least 22 feet. That
Yeah.
gives you, most vehicles are 7 to 8 feet wide. Commercial vehicles are
A little bit of a
8 feet
shoulder.
wide.
Yeah.
Truck trailers are 102 inches wide. And, but most cars are about 74, somewhere in that range, passenger car. You've got room and a little buffer in between, so you don't have to drive in the ditch. You're not right in the center of the road.
Yeah.
It's fairly safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're
Visibility's good if it's not foggy. And
you're sending out crews that are also. These are rural roads.
Rural.
You're
Rural
maintaining tree lines. You're having to mow
Yes.
trees and vegetation
And it
off
is-
the roadway. You've got to keep up with that.
And that's a problem. I love the fact that we have a rural atmosphere. I want to keep our Western heritage,
Sure, yeah.
our rural heritage alive, and want it to look quaint
Yeah.
and pretty. But that is incredibly expensive.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Our tractors that we use to mow the sides of the road
They're
and trim
so
the roadways,
expensive.
they're
Talking about the big arm.
yeah, they're
Oh
in
my
the
God.
they're in the $200,000
Yeah, they are.
range.
God.
We're looking
And
one at the
I've-
city.
And I've got 4 of them, and generally 2 of them are operating,
Mhm.
and not
Yep.
always, because sometimes 3 of them are broke down because they are a mechanical nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just we're working on them all the time. But as much as possible, I try to keep those things running. Unless it's raining.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is Wise County doesn't have the helicopter with the blades down. They all just
Not exactly.
trim the
Not
trees
exactly.
with.
It would be better for us if we got rid of every tree in the right of way. It'd be safer.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
easier. It'd be cheaper. It's just ugly.
Yep.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
not much of a
and there's a fine line there. Eventually, when we get more traffic, and people are demanding it,
it'll have to happen.
they're asking.
But there's something to be said about driving down a county road with tree lined, tree
Yeah.
canopy.
over
yeah.
both sides. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
And
go
We
I-
have a
highway.
few of those drives in the county.
We have a lot of those
Yeah.
drives.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and we try to just maintain them as best we can. We try to keep them 14 feet so that the 13.6 truck can go down, or somebody with a camper.
Uh-huh.
One of you guys' friends called me yesterday that damaged a camper on a tree on a road, and we just trimmed it, so it's something that fell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or they did.
But then there's
Yeah.
also there's a lot of drainage that comes down through here, creeks.
Oh, that's my.
You've got bridges to maintain too, right?
We do,
And to build.
And build. Yeah.
Yeah, he
build.
built this one.
yeah, that's right.
How many bridges do you have in your precinct?
Answer this question I can't answer.
Ballpark.
Ballpark, 50.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
when I started, we were 14 bridges behind. What the state has a program. Actually, it's a federal program. It's called a BRINSEP program, and I can't give you that acronym. Can't sound out the acronym, but it's basically 80% federal money,
Yeah.
10% state money, and 10% county money.
Okay.
And they'll put us in a bridge. The feds will pay for it. It's administrated through the state. Our 10% can be payment in kind, and we build another bridge ourselves for our 10%. And we do
Gotcha.
a lot of that, so we contract that out.
Okay.
When I first started, we built the bridge. Our county forces built the bridge at the reunion grounds. If you've been across that one,
Everybody's got to
Yep.
have been across that one.
so that one was built by mainly precinct 2, but
Okay.
other precincts helped. But that took so long, and our other work continues.
Sure.
So it just didn't make sense. I thought I'd dabble in it, but it didn't make sense not to use the contractor that we had hired or we had bid it out.
Okay.
So we just bid them out. And we can build a bridge in the neighborhood of, with some used material, some new material, just an average build, about 40 feet long for $150,000, $200,000.
Okay.
If we're building it. And the state builds $1 million bridge.
Anywhere
I mean,
they're building,
yeah,
whether
pretty
it's 10
much.
foot across a creek or 100 feet. Yeah.
they're building them close to that, all concrete. Lasts a lot longer than ours because we're driving steel piling. Steel
Okay.
piling lasts average of 75 years in fairly non-alkaline soils.
Yeah.
Some alkaline soils doesn't last as long. Concrete bridges last 100 years or longer.
Yeah.
So we're not building as good a quality of bridge, but it's still a safe bridge
Okay.
and good for a long time and a heck of a lot cheaper. We're doing it for 10 to 20% of that cost.
Yeah, so remember that, people, that when you pay your county tax bills, be a little mindful of
Most
the
people-
commissioner's saving you money out there.
But most people don't even realize they're going over a bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them don't.
That's ideal, though, right?
It is. It is.
I mean,
That's
whenever
great.
you're trying to keep up with your Twitter feed, on the road,
Yeah.
that's
I don't-
text people back. I mean,
I
you're going to
do.
miss like the little things.
I do. Most of my complaints are about mowing.
Yeah.
They want things mowed like they're mowed in Frisco, or especially if this is their second home. Because they're
bless their
used
hearts.
to the economy of scale at home.
Yeah.
And that commissioner's budget is multiple millions of dollars. And normally it's not a county, it's a city.
Yeah.
And you're on lot lines.
Yeah.
And everybody's paying taxes.
I'm
it's
surprised.
a lot of money.
I'm surprised by that. There's people that have second homes in Wise County. Wise County is a destination place for.
Oh, yeah, we
Quite a
are.
few.
That's
Oh, yeah.
insane.
And they're the most demanding people because they're just not. They don't know what it is to be in a rural area.
No.
And they're like, and they're the ones that normally tell me, increase the taxes. It's like, no, I have to pay those too.
Yeah, they're so cheap out here.
I
Absolutely not.
live in my precinct. Yeah.
No, we're not, and they're enough. And we're then that's an issue. Law enforcement takes 63% of our budget,
Okay.
and then we've got both. There are constitutionally established offices, and there are legislatively established offices. So there are several offices that are in our state constitution that you have to have in each county.
Yeah.
The clerks and judges and everybody else.
That is pure representation.
Is
and
the-
that's
Okay.
and that's state by state statute.
Okay.
And then there are some that are legislatively established later in the Constitution. We have to fund those. We have to fund them appropriately. If we don't, that office holder can sue us for not taking care of that office.
So you've got a three-tiered deal. You've got to take care of law enforcement.
Yes.
These legislatively enacted offices and
and
the people in them.
statutorily
Yeah.
established.
And then maintaining infrastructure and roadways.
Maintain infrastructure.
And then is the EMS, is that part of the?
Absolutely,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
part of it
So-
as well.
yeah.
Now, there's a little bit of income from EMS by insurance,
Right.
but for the most part, if you're a county citizen, you get all for nothing.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Well, it is, but I don't have to oversee all, of those.
it. Yeah.
I have a shot at that budget once
Okay.
a year, and that is my entire control over the other office holders. I have no authority over another office holder.
Okay.
Yeah.
People call often and say, that person or that particular entity is not treating me right. You need to do something about it. I cannot.
You can't. They
I
have to
no
go to that
authority.
person.
And another thing I was going to get back to as far as speed, I don't have a ticket book.
You don't have a little red and blue light on the
I
dash of your
cannot
truck?
I cannot enforce the law.
Uh-huh.
That is the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
I can't keep people from dumping out trash.
Oh, that's
I can't keep
Man.
people from speeding.
Yeah.
I
That's-
can't keep them from driving on the wrong side of the road. All I do is build the road and put up the signs.
Yeah.
By the way, there's never enough signs and the right amount of signs.
no. That's you're
Right.
right. That is
Right.
the biggest disappointment about living in a rural area. The people that just dump trash on the sides of the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
God,
It's
it is-
unfortunate.
it's
and we put
horrible.
up game cameras
Yeah.
and SO can put up a game camera. But that's so frustrating because if a law enforcement officer doesn't find an addressed envelope
in the trash.
in the trash, then we have no idea. And people call all the time. Hey, I saw a red Suburban dropping trash out on this road. What's the last piece number?
yeah.
And well, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Can't
and-
take it somebody
and
on
I-
hearsay.
And did you call the sheriff's office? No. Can you call them for me?
Oh no.
Because I have a warrant. I can't talk to them.
But I think that like
They think I'm dead.
that borders on a big theme of rural.
Roll.
Yeah, rural
Roll.
is like so much of rural life depends on stewardship of
does.
the people.
And it's unfortunate that, and then normally the guys throwing the trash out are on the way home. They stopped at the local store.
The
Yeah.
local
they-
aid or liquor.
No, I'm not talking the liquor store. I'm just talking about
The gas station.
the fast food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
stop at fast food. You and you guys were all young like me. I ate
Sure.
8 meals a day, and that wasn't enough. So young guys gonna eat on the way, throw the trash sack out. Some mom doesn't know he's already ate, so she'll fix supper
Supper when he gets
Yeah.
home.
when he gets home. So I see that
Yeah.
a lot.
Or the beer can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Beer can,
Beer
bottles.
cans.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. And that's just a matter of pride.
Yeah.
People not having pride in their community. And that's really unfortunate. And we do pick up some trash, but I cannot send people out to pick up trash while there's a actual serious safety issue
Yeah.
going on somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if we happen to be somewhere, we'll pick up a little bit of trash, but I don't have the personnel to go out and pick up trash.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department was doing it for a while,
Yeah.
but Lane chose to stop doing that because a lot of contraband got back in the jail because guys were out
Interesting.
picking up trash and they would pick out what people threw out for them
Oh.
somewhere. So if they got a schedule, if they figured out where they're
Criminals
going
are
to be,
clever, man.
they are,
they
and
are.
Very
they
thrifty.
will get their phone call
Yeah.
and they'll by code say, hey, we're going to be out cleaning up this cemetery or
Yeah.
cleaning up this roadway
Boom.
tomorrow, and
I'll be damned.
Yeah,
I've never
leave
thought
me-
of that.
leave me.
I mean, they're smarter than you are.
Yeah, really are.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
Somehow.
somehow.
So I got a
Yeah.
good question. And it takes us back to bridges, and I think it's this bridge. Everybody's probably going to know it. I don't know about Doc, but you will for sure. I think it's in your precinct. It's a little old bridge. It's called Screaming Bridge.
Yes, right down the road from me.
That is in your precinct, right?
It is.
So at what point in time, or did y'all ever get into it and look at it and go, man, we got to do something about this graffiti?
Oh,
And then y'all just was like, screw
No,
it. We're not going to
you
mess with it. Because y'all redid it, right? It's a newer
a
newer
new
bridge?
bridge.
It's
It's
not
a
the
newer
same
bridge.
old bridge, yeah.
no, that bridge, that's funny. That bridge lasted from like 1926 to about 1999, 2000. And then a bridge that was put in like 99 lasted till 2001.
Oh, wow.
Whoops.
Whoops.
So
Because
that's
they
a
put
third.
and that's a Brinsap bridge.
Yeah.
They put a center stanchion in it
Yeah.
somewhere in between the offices, between the local one, the one in Fort Worth, and the one in Austin. Didn't realize that this area is called the Cross Timbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
amount
And
of
that
debris.
timber goes in the bridge, goes
Yeah.
in the creek.
Downstream.
It goes downstream.
That's what we
it
call
would-
practical knowledge.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it will wash the bridge away if you have any kind of structure in the middle of the creek channel.
Yeah, to stop it.
It'll
Wow.
stop everything. It stops all the brush.
Yeah.
And
If you've ever kayaked the Trinity, you would be
Yeah.
astounded by log jams
Oh,
on that
yeah.
river. They are insane.
there are a bunch of them.
I mean, yeah, I've never built a bridge, but I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah.
So
well, we use a design, a proven design that the state calls the HS20, and it means it'll carry like 135,000 pounds. So it doesn't have to be rated.
gotcha.
So they still inspect
It's
it.
enough.
They inspect
Yeah.
it biannually, but we don't have to put a sign up that says this bridge will only do this much.
Okay.
Like the graffiti.
So we have several in the works that are, and it's so funny. I say it's funny. It's not good. If I'm going to build a bridge, and I go out, tell the landowner, you
Mhm.
say, hey, I need to set your fence back, and I'll pay for your fence, but
Yeah.
I need to set your fence back about 20 feet so we can build this bridge.
Oh, you get some pushback.
No, I don't.
Really?
But
Okay.
guess what? If the feds are involved, I have to get a federal appraiser, federally
Wow.
approved appraiser, because there's federal money involved,
Uh-huh.
and I have to appraise your property, and I have to appraise your property based on an average of the entire country.
Oh,
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh.
So it's nothing,
Yeah.
and I have to make that offer as a commissioner.
Wow.
And
Just so you can set a
everybody
fence line back.
says, "The hell with you."
Yeah.
I'm not taking, and literally this number is on the books right now. And thankfully, the folks that I've talked them into taking it, or they're just good enough people.
Yeah.
Like $785.
Wow.
Wow.
Or an enormous amount of intrusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So
having
you're-
to be there and build it and go around while the state is building it because it takes them about 6 months.
So are you relocating the property boundary, or is this just a
just about.
temporary?
No, there is a temporary easement, but
Okay.
then there's a property boundary. Is we've got to fence it off so that we can maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we?
That you can get in there.
Is this a different beer,
Yes.
Miguel? Oh, it's the same one. Okay.
Just
There you go.
massive
You want
quantities.
you want more beer?
I'm not going to drink all that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Take it.
Anyway, there's a lot of it. It's just something. There's something new every day. It's a fun job because of the challenges, the things I never thought I would do. I thought I'd be running a maintainer all the time.
You thought-
I really did.
Yeah.
Because I like it. I like running yellow iron. I thought this is going to be great. I get to do that. Get to hand my cell phone to employee, let them watch the road for a minute.
Yeah.
I let them do the flagging, and I get to play on the machine every once in a while
That's nice.
for a little therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't get to do that very much. My day is consumed with
Administrative tasks.
subdividers,
Okay.
lawyers, engineers, surveyors.
Okay.
God
Because of
help
our
you.
growth. Because of our growth.
So that's
Yeah.
a good segue. I know that you didn't really mention it, but you are a regulating entity for
We are.
subdivisions coming into county.
And my main job is to make sure that the current taxpayers don't have to supplement
Yeah.
development. And
Yeah.
it really and make sure that they're not harming people downstream.
Mhm.
Make sure they're not harming the people that are within the subdivision, because I call them victims, because they're the victim of the subdivider.
True.
They're getting a great piece of property, but it's my job to make sure that they're not going to flood and they're
Yeah.
not going to flood the downstream neighbor.
Yeah.
That the road that they're putting in is not going to be a burden to the current taxpayer
Not going to crumble.
for a long period
Right.
of
You'll
time.
be able to get your emergency services to
exactly
and from your house.
amount of ingress and egress,
Yeah.
and make sure that road is up to par for a number of years.
Okay.
Man, that's like worth unpacking a little bit because there's some real principles of growth there.
It's got to be
All right.
brought on by, I guess, bad people
Oh yeah,
building subdivisions and screwing over.
Our rules are they're like 100 something pages of light reading if you want to have trouble going to sleep. But there is an invisible name in the margin for each rule.
Yeah.
A bad actor.
Yeah.
An actor that went around or found a loophole so they didn't have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Does that
And
make
you
sense?
have lawyers picking through these rules, trying to find the loopholes.
That starts another story. There was a corporation out of Florida that invested in this area when I first took office, and they had already got into the building this subdivision. They hadn't completed the final plat. They hadn't
Yeah.
started on it.
I mean,
But
this
I-
is prior to the 2008 financial crisis, too.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
you have to put it
was
in its
busy,
proper. Yeah.
busy. Between 2000 and 2008, all I did was talk to people about
Wow.
growth, about subdivisions. And, when this lull right now because of interest rate, I'm not doing it quite as much. So I can actually talk to somebody about roads or something else. I can
Yeah.
actually make appointments, go out and talk to people about an issue. When things are hot and heavy here, all I do is deal with subdivision.
Yeah.
All
Wow.
I do is deal with that and complaints, but mainly just try to curb them by making sure those, we'll call them victims, are taken care of.
Yeah.
Make sure they're not wronged.
That's completely understandable.
And it's burdensome.
Yeah.
It really is. It's the kind of thing that wakes you up at 4 a.m. because someone is trying to go around the rules
Yeah.
to make money.
Yeah.
Where did that? Yeah, the representative, please.
Boom.
Yes, and another cajete empanada.
Yeah, okay.
Doc is kind of dealing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
How much would you,
You
like
notice,
to
Yeah.
you notice how
get
like
for
a
this cayeta?
Cajeta positions
like
himself
a-
at this table.
kind of like a prescription or controlled substance.
What's it worth to you, pal?
Yeah.
That's I'm dealing in certain entities that I didn't actually, give to the table.
Oh, you.
So like I didn't bring the whiskey, I didn't bring the empanadas, I didn't bring the beer.
Yeah, but that's
No.
kind of normal.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
You don't
I wouldn't know.
anything.
Now I know.
That's so
Bring your
okay.
own.
So these victims of subdivisions, right?
Well, I'm just saying the customers.
Yeah.
The folks that are moving here.
I mean,
the
you gotta
homeowners,
protect
all
them.
builders. I do.
Yeah.
That's my first job. And then, if you're going to subdivide, even though we're friends,
Yeah.
I have to hold your feet to the fire
right.
to
You're,
make
you're
sure
trying
that
to earn
you're
on a profit margin.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll do my best to assist
Yep.
as much as possible. And because it's a lengthy process and it's burdensome, but especially if you haven't done it before,
Right. And that's what I was wondering. Like, good
Yeah.
God, what
it's a
what was
pain.
that first year like for you?
Oh my! So my first meeting with the subdivider was in downtown Fort Worth, an 11th floor boardroom with a stenographer, 2 lawyers, an engineer, and an ex-county commissioner that had our subdivision rules dog-eared like an old Bible because
Oh,
he'd
my
studied
gosh.
them so much
Yeah.
to try to get around the rules because they'd hired him to do so.
And so you're showing up. I mean,
And
talk
I'm-
about
I'm a-
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, but I have a couple of outside engineers which we have hired,
Yeah.
and we do that. We do small ones in house because we employ an engineer. He's a great guy, does a great job. He's overworked,
Yeah.
but he and our staff can do really small ones that don't have infrastructure.
Yeah.
But if you do have infrastructure, if you have roads and you have drainage issues, and we want every subdivision that's built to have the same runoff that it had prior to construction of the homes.
Okay.
So you're not flooding out people
Yeah.
below you.
Not creating a problem for
Not
somebody
creating
else.
a problem. And what problems we create are cumulative because we drain into the Trinity River Basin. That affects everyone from here to Anahuac County
Yeah.
to Trinity Bay. And we can flood people because of our bad actions. We can flood people all the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow.
Right.
And you may think that your 3 or 4 home subdivision is not going to be a big deal, but every time you put an impermeable surface, such as a gravel, concrete, roof,
It's going to have drain off.
it's going to have a lot more runoff. And
Yeah.
you have to calculate that, and we ask people to detain it for a short period of time so
Yeah.
that it
You
So
don't
that-
flood those people downstream.
Yep. And it requires a stock tank. It requires a berm. It requires a V-cut in a small dam.
Mhm.
Or it requires a culvert, before it leaves the property. And that's just part of it. And that's really tough to sell
Yeah.
because that's not affecting anybody locally normally. If it normally goes to the stream.
That's
and
out
the
of sight,
stream-
out of mind for
out
the
of sight, out of
locals.
mind, but it floods people in Fort Worth immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have an ethos of from being county commissioner. What's your read? An ethos like a principle
Sure.
that, lines that you're just not willing to cross.
Right. No, I'm happy to give you, we have a 150-foot minimum on a lot front
Yeah.
so that you're not pulling out cars, hitting each other, pulling out at the same time. You have time to decelerate and pull into your driveway. And we can fudge on that a little bit by allowing a flag lot to go back to the back
Yeah.
side of a property, something like that. If it makes sense, if we can talked the subdivider into moving the driveways a little ways apart,
Yeah.
a little different place on the property, shifting them a little bit so that it's safer.
Right.
And we don't mind doing that. I can't give it a 1 vote out of 5 on every single decision.
That's what I wanted to
Wow.
ask is like when a plat gets approved, it's not just you as one
No.
commissioner, it's the entire county of commissioners and a county judge approving the plat.
That's correct.
So you can't have an instance of, corrupt, and there are those commissioners out
Yeah.
there that are corrupt.
Yeah.
No.
You can't have an instance of, somebody with big money as a subdivider coming in and saying,
Yeah,
here's
we
some
do
campaign contributions if you
Yeah.
overlook this little regulation right here
Yep.
that's kind of costing us money.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So even if you
Absolutely.
are a corrupt, the other 3 or
Yep.
4,
Yep.
including the county judge, you're going to vote another way.
We tend to respect each other and each other's advice as
Yeah.
far as if we go out and look at it, or the staff has gone out and look at it and says,
Mhm.
"Yeah, that's doable. We could do that, but it has to be in writing. It can't be because of a financial concern.
Mm-hmm.
That's stated in the rules. It's got to be to the advantage of everyone
Okay.
Gotcha.
to get a variance like that. And I can give a variance on a drainage study if it's just ma and pa, maybe building one more house, something
Yeah.
like that. You're not doing a whole lot. If the water is going across to another neighbor and they'll do it later, or they have a stock tank and they don't mind being the stopgap
Yeah.
measure.
Yeah.
If they don't mind it, and
Then you can work it out like that.
then we can work it out like that.
Something else you got to consider, and Judge Clark touched on it, are water wells and groundwater issues.
my.
That's
Yeah.
becoming quite a thing.
It is.
now.
It is. It's
You're a regulating body over those instances too.
not little bit. We've relegated that to an entity,
Okay.
the Upper Trinity Groundwater Conservation District,
Okay.
back in about the same period of time, about 2005, somewhere in that range. We got a letter from the excuse me, I'm having a senior moment. The
Here's some whiskey.
yeah, thanks. That's what I need. Anyway, it was from the Senate Natural Resources Committee
Yeah.
and the Texas Water Development Board. It was a combination of the two. Sent us a letter and says, hey, if you don't have a groundwater conservation district in the next couple of years, we're going to give you one.
You will be appointed one.
You'll be appointed
Okay.
one because you're in a priority groundwater management area.
this is
because we are running out of water here. The Texas Water Development Board has a number of wells throughout the state.
Uh-huh.
They monitor groundwater levels, statewide. They do a great job of that. But they said, hey, your water is diminishing quickly. And it was diminishing because of fracking, because of oil field.
Okay.
Because we were both growing, plus they claimed about 10% of our water. They're usually closer to 25% of
There's
our
a
water.
lot of water.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of water
Yeah.
they were pumping out of the ground
Okay.
and pumping into wells. And they weren't, of course, and that water is gone from the recharge
Okay.
once it gets used for fracking. It
Yeah,
gets fracked.
because they don't let it seep back into the ground. It gets trucked out, right?
It gets trucked out
Yeah.
because most of that water that's used for fracking will come back out of the ground and it has to be disposed of. It's better than 10% saline and
Interesting.
can't utilize it. It has some light solvent in it that's used for a lubricant
Yeah.
for pumps and makes it go
So
down.
it's just rendered useless.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that could be cleaned up with better technology than we have.
Yeah.
And there are some little pet projects here and there where they're cleaning it up and you can get drinking water from it, but it's very expensive and it's very energy. It sucks a lot of energy to do that.
It's not
They've
going to
got-
solve our problems right
no,
away.
It's thermic. They've got to boil it.
Yeah.
Basically.
So-
you've got to distill it.
Most of the
to
oil
get it out
fields
there.
done moved on out
Most
of this
of
county.
it, there's not much exploration here.
Yeah. Is
But
it
now the our growth puts a lot of straws in the ground,
Yeah.
and
I think
people
quite
are
literally,
JD,
not,
I like
think,
that.
said it was
Yeah.
Wise County is the number one county of water well permits issued in the state. I think
actually it's Parker.
okay.
but we're
well,
close.
that's close. Yeah.
We're close. But out of the 4, we got together and I got some advice about, can we be self-sufficient? Can we have our own Wise County group?
Yeah.
And my advice from council, water lawyer says, no, the state's not going to allow that.
Huh.
You're going to have to do multi-county or do something regionally. They were putting us in a 13-county area, and it included Dallas and Fort Worth, and we would have absolutely no say over what goes on here
Yeah.
whatsoever, because
That wasn't a good deal.
That wasn't a good deal. So we didn't want
Yeah.
that. So we got together with the 4 counties that line up on the recharge of
Yeah.
the Trinity Aquifer. We're the Trinity Aquifer here. It's what we use. It's there's half a dozen of them, but mainly the Antlers, the Paluxy,
Yeah.
Trinity. It makes up. There are about 4 of them that make up the Trinity sands,
Mhm.
and the sand that's over in the Chico, Alvoid, West Alvoid, in the Chico area, in that area, Crafton, that's
Yeah.
our recharge.
Okay.
That's where our water comes from here.
Interesting.
It's not very far away.
No,
That's
it's not.
where the fold in the earth is, and that's where the spatial sands are, and that's
Yeah.
where the water falls on that sand. It runs underneath us very, very slowly.
And recharges those
And
aquifer.
that
those.
aquifer.
Yeah.
Those, and it's just a spatial sand. It's a large grain sand.
Huh.
They call it Trinity sand.
I'll be
Yeah.
damned.
And when you dig into it, you can see it come out of the ground when you're
But-
digging into it.
These aquifers are a real issue, more so than people
Oh yeah,
recognize.
Oh yeah, and our biggest problem is overuse, and our biggest problem is St. Augustine.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
There is-
Heath. Yeah.
There,
The best yard in the county right
Yeah,
here.
buddy.
Yeah.
well,
I'm putting it back to the ground.
yeah, you are.
If you saw the cracks in the ground after this summer, you know that water's going
Oh,
right back
man.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it's evaporating.
Yeah.
It's
But
true.
anyway, it's most people that move here think it's plentiful and it's recharging immediately, and
Not the case.
and I can pump as much as I can possibly pump, and I bought 2 acres. I ought to be able to keep it all green.
Yeah.
And with a non-native plant, and there's a reason St. Augustine isn't here.
Yeah.
It won't grow here naturally
native,
unless you
yeah.
pump water. And I mean, I can't practice what I preach. I have a little buffalo grass in the front yard where
Yeah.
people pull up. That stuff goes 20 feet in the ground to find water.
Yeah.
You don't have to water it much. I got St. Augustine in the backyard
Yeah.
too, so I can't.
And then
but it's-
everybody's
Just
got Bermuda.
something about the feel of St. Augustine on your bare feet. Yeah.
yeah,
Bermuda's not even native to
No,
this.
no.
You're getting into what I guess native here would be like Dallas, Buffalo, Johnson.
Buffalo mainly. No, Johnson's invasive.
Really?
Is
Yeah.
it
Oh,
really?
wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Dallas grass, which grows great, but it's ugly as shit.
Yeah.
What else? would-
Buffalo grass is not real pretty either, but that's really the only natural Texas grass.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you think we'll have to adopt more practical like
and
options?
The solution is going to have to be, and I despise legislation,
Yeah.
controlling legislation, but eventually, unless our culture changes
Hmm.
and our attitude changes about water use, like our grandfathers used to do, like my dad would not. He said, if you can't eat it, don't water it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Right?
I mean, if you don't have that attitude,
That is not the way my granddad here. Well, of course, his
well,
lawn.
his great granddad
But
did.
I would come to
I mean,
I would
you're-
come here to the farm and he'd have 4 sprinklers out on the hillsides
Yeah.
around these barns, keeping all the
Yeah.
the grass green.
Yeah, but you've got a lot of acreage that is
Yeah.
not being irrigated to
True.
that you control.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot there, but folks that buy small acreage and do non-native plants are a problem, and eventually it's going to have to be an incentive to to conserve water.
Be conscientious
and then punitive not to.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if
So-
you use a bunch of water, then
So-
you
Then
need to be
you get fined.
You need to be and that's
Yeah.
I hate to do that, but it may be the only way that we
Right.
can
Well, you can-
survive because we're going to run out of water.
Yeah.
There are subdivisions within the county that wells do run dry or they spit air because they're using too much.
Sure.
And they call me and I laugh at them because I don't care. You're
Yeah.
a bad actor.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be watering that much.
You're not living on a golf course.
Yeah. So I'm really obstinate when it comes to that.
Well, then is the time to get creative from home builders. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do
Xeroscape.
xeroscaping, rockscaping,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it
Encourage xeroscape.
it looks good if it's done right. It looks
Yeah.
really
Or
good.
make artificial turf cheaper.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's a real
that's
thing.
no
Like,
joke.
I didn't.
No, it's
Yeah.
stupid
Yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
it's a petroleum product. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't do- can't have that.
No oil.
no.
And then
So,
what else
so
was I
my-
going to say? There
but
was
my main focus during my 10 years commissioner has been, traveling safety of the public and
Yeah.
water, and water has been drilled into me by some predecessors, by some folks that have left the earth because they feel like it's important and that I needed to know and I needed to carry that torch.
you
and
served
I
on
do.
the county water board with my dad, didn't you?
I didn't serve on it with him, but I certainly participated in
Alongside.
it a lot. Alongside, because they invited me to go to conferences
Okay.
and learn and take that knowledge and lobby for the county and lobby for both on the state side and the federal side for maintenance of our flood control structures.
Okay.
We have 107 of them in the county. We have 107 dams that
Really?
That's a big
provide
number.
flood. Yeah,
I'm
they
impressed.
provide flood control,
Yeah.
and that flood control protects our roads. It protects communities. My main concern is, of course, the road. It keeps the roads open.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my main job, and I think I have about 40 of them in precinct 2.
Wow.
They're maintained by some county forces. We have a division for that. We have a department head for
Just for these
lakes
dams.
for dams.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have two to 2.5 men that work on it. Every day. I say 2.5 because one guy works part time and then
Okay.
they work part time for that dams and part time for 911 addressing. That's how we share that, and they do a great job. But it's never enough. An earthen dam is a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're aging. Most of them are 50 years old.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So that was the average calculated benefit time. It would last for 50 years and pay for itself in 50 years.
And then what do you-
Unfortunately, the feds look at it as, after 50 years, it's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, so they just wipe
They
their
just-
hands of it.
Yeah, they want to wipe their hands. They want to wash their hands. We kind of talked them out of that a
Yeah.
little bit, but I've been very involved in the National Watershed Coalition. I'm the incoming chair of Texas Association of Watershed Sponsors.
Okay.
That's the people. We have about 4,000 of them in the state. There are actually about 2,200 that are under regulation or under state, I guess, dam safety.
Yeah.
So I think there are actually 2,045 that are statewide. So I go and beg in Washington, D.C. to keep the feds funneling us a little bit of money
Yeah.
to take care of those, because there's some issues with the construction, with the materials used, with culverts, because we have pretty alkaline soils.
Sure.
So our
Yep.
steel culverts are all rotting away. Some of the earth that we used was not sufficient.
Mhm.
Needed to be clay rather than a
Yeah.
loam.
Yeah.
to make a good dam, and it requires a lot of maintenance. It was an issue, so they finally agreed to do that. That was zeroed out in the last, I guess, 4 presidential budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just taking care of it locally
With as much budget as you could allocate
as much
to it.
as we could.
It takes a lot of money to move dirt like that.
Well, we're not moving a lot of dirt, but we're maintaining fences to keep cattle off the dam itself, to keep it from eroding away, keeping rodents out of it, keeping big trees out of it.
Yeah.
Anything that's got a woody bark will grow and create a void or spread out the dirt, and then it allows the water to seep.
Okay.
And then it'll go away. And
Which
if it goes
requires
away,
manpower.
It does.
Yeah.
And machinery.
Yeah.
We have to fertilize them as well. I don't know if I just said that or if I thought it,
Mm-hmm.
but we spend quite a bit of time doing that. And then the big projects where they need actual rehabilitation or a heavy repair, then we can get federal grants for that now because of some of our efforts with National Watershed Coalition. I'm a former chair of that.
Okay.
I'm still on the legislative committee to go and ask for budget for that, and that's through the ag budget.
Yeah.
But it's specifically through the subcommittee on forestry and conservation, and that's where I was after, I don't know, about 5 visits to D.C. Finally got with the right guy and gave a little story about it, and that story is Judge Charles Wilhite came to see me when I was running for commissioner. He's an old family friend. And he had a little bit different. I mean, he's such a meek, nice guy, but he was literally poking me in the chest. he said, son, at the time we had 88 to 90 dams. He said, we got 88 dams in the county, and they protect your roads. And let me tell you a little story. Between 1950 and 1957, it didn't rain regionally. It didn't rain in Wise County. It didn't rain in New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana.
Okay.
It was a terrible, terrible
I
drought.
remember my grandparents talking about that era.
Drought of 50 to 57. And he said in 1957, that drought got relieved one weekend with the 24 hours of rainfall. He said it washed out 85 bridges in the county.
Good God, that's a nightmare.
Yeah. He said what little commerce was going on agriculturally came to a stop because nobody could travel.
Yeah.
He said we started looking into, we had never taken advantage of Public Law 566 and Public Law 534, which were grant programs to build dams for flood control. So we started building them. The first one we started construction of was Black Creek Lake in 1957. It got done in 1960, and we just started building more. And he said, now we have those significant rainfalls, but you don't have that kind of problem because they're there.
Yeah, you have the.
And most people don't even know where they are.
No, they really don't. The ones in the the ones you mentioned, they do.
Yeah, in the grasslands, you have access to it, but a lot of it's on private property that public doesn't have access to.
So the ones in the grasslands weren't built for recreation.
They were built for flood control. Recreation was a byproduct.
Yeah,
and some of them have some boat docks and some some little, little odds and ends.
Yeah,
fishing decks.
Yeah, but that's an afterthought. That's not the primary reason to have them. It's for flood control.
So when you were in Washington, does this roll into your congressional testimony? Is this what you were there for?
That's what I was there for. Okay. I finally told this story, little story right there, to Frank Lucas.
Yeah,
he's an Oklahoma representative, and he was chair of forestry and conservation.
Yeah.
So he said, hey, you mind telling that story to Congress if I can get some committee room time? I'd be honored to.
Yeah.
Sure. So his staff got with me, and I got a letter in the mail without a stamp. That was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. I got a letter addressed to me, and I didn't know that you can send letters from D.C. official letters and
Not have to pay postage.
they don't have to pay postage. That was such a strange thing. And I still have a letter somewhere, and it says, we'd like you to be here on June the 12th in 2017, I believe it was. So, and I may be wrong on that date, but it said if you'll be here, you'll have 5 minutes to speak, but you can have as long a written testimony as you would like, but you have to bring 25 copies.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So there are 15 committee members, but between staff and committee members, they want 25 copies of it. So, so I wrote a, several page document, 4 or 5 pages of all the reasons this needs to go back in the budget.
Yeah.
It's hurting us locally. And then I did a little outline what I was going to say. And there were 4 other people on a panel. I'm sitting and the hardest thing about it
Let's back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Why don't you tell our listeners how you got to Washington,
How you got there
D.C.?
first?
I like being out in the sunshine.
Hold that out again. Hold your shirt out where the camera can see that.
Can you see that?
Indian motorcycles,
Yeah.
if you can't read it.
Yeah. So I've had several Indian motorcycles. The latest, I've had a couple of 15 models. Is
Sponsor.
the latest ones
Sponsor.
I've had. Sponsor. Yeah, sponsor.
Hello, Indian.
Hello, Indian.
Right? Polaris or whoever owns
Yeah,
Polaris
it's-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I made that part of my testimony.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said, "Hey," he said, I practiced my speech on him, and he said, I look at that as like part of the interstate highway system because you can't afford to build an interstate highway with county tax money.
No.
It takes regional money and federal money. We all have to get together to do that. You can't afford to build an interstate highway through Wise County. We can't afford to maintain these dams for people in the 10 or 15 counties between here and the Gulf of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's who it's benefiting. It benefits us locally,
Yeah.
but it benefits people downstream more than us because
So
these things are built to catch rainfall, catastrophic rainfall events over, and then let that out slowly over a 10-day period.
Okay.
So
So that
basically,
it's
big
not-
retention ponds.
It is.
But yeah.
Yeah, they're big retention. They're retention and detention.
So when you see those,
They retain a little bit,
Yeah.
but they detain. They're normally in the, I'm going to say in Wise County, they're 5 acre
Mhm.
at normal level,
Mm.
5 acre normal level pool for
Right.
fishing and for recreation and for livestock and for critters,
Mhm.
for wildlife. But at flood stage, they may contain 35 acres.
wow.
Oh wow.
So the dam's pretty big,
Yeah.
and the principal outlet is pretty low. So it'll fill up and then slowly release, and that's what they're all about, is
Yeah.
a slow release. So anyway, back to the story of the motorcycle. I decided to ride my motorcycle because my National Watershed Coalition is going to fund my trip. I mean, we got this thing going, and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, this makes sense. We're gonna hopefully benefit nationwide from this because there's 11,000 dams in the United States like this, like we have. So we may be able to get it back in the federal budget, and it's looking good. So we'll fly you. And I said, I think I'll ride my bike.
Uh-huh.
So I like long rides anyway. I'll go see the grandkids
Especially
almost
in
every
July.
year. Well, June.
June. Yeah.
It was hot. it was 100 degrees in DC that year.
Oh, my
In
gosh.
June, it was miserable, and especially getting out because it took forever. But I like taking a week-long trip every
Yeah.
time. I didn't get to this year. I said yes to too many projects, but next year I'll do another.
I think the voters
Long
for
trip.
Commissioner Burns should know, not a poser.
Yeah. No.
You didn't trailer your motorcycle up there.
No,
You
no.
rode the damn thing.
Yeah. So it was, so when I was able to sit and do my testimony, I said, look, I look at this like the interstate highway system. I utilized the interstate highway system and rode my motorcycle here for a point. I utilized what the federal government built to get here. Wise County citizens couldn't afford that highway, and Wise County citizens can't afford to do flood control for this region.
Yeah.
Without
From here, and some of these watersheds go over state lines. They're not even just in the same state. They go multiple states before they hit a major tributary or a gulf or an ocean. So we've got to protect that waterway all the way down. And,
absolutely.
And it allows safe passage across those waterways.
Yeah. Yeah.
By what we do here.
But you're kind of dependent on all of the counties.
Sure, to do the same thing, to be a good actor.
Yeah.
Not all of them are good actors. We've
Okay.
got some neighbors that are bad actors that feel like that's beneath them, or they don't want to do it. They don't want to affect their budget like that. Don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep at night
Yeah.
knowing that I didn't do my job and some person died in a waterway over the Trinity River down toward Lake Livingston
Yeah.
Sure.
because we didn't do our job.
Here.
That's
Yeah.
our job. I think it's our job.
It all speaks to stewardship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a big push for me because of safety,
Yeah.
and it's good for just locals as well because you can travel nearly anywhere in the county on a really bad day as far as heavy rainfall day. Now, sometimes you really need to stay at home. Don't be an idiot.
No, it's true. And we've
But
been idiots
because
at
we can't-
times. Yeah.
Well, I do it for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I remember distinctly like going
So, Doc-
to kayak
Oh
some.
God, man.
Yeah, and
So,
getting
Doc-
some truck
Oh yeah.
stuck in a creek.
Oh, that was at the back of Bridgeport Lake.
Yeah.
Good memories.
Careful. That's not legal. Can't be in that. So, Doc, what is that? What is that parasite that a person gets that makes them a thrill seeker? Are you familiar with that?
I'm only vaguely
Okay.
familiar with
Well,
it,
I
but
have-
it does.
but I have
you
it.
have it. You have the parasite.
by
I
that
have
bug.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, there is a parasite it's like an encephalitis. It's like gets in your brain and
And you're just
you're a
like-
thrill seeker.
Huh.
Yeah.
You just have to be. It makes you an adrenaline junkie.
That's what you're.
I'm serious
you're
about
not
that.
messing with
I'm
us.
not messing with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people have it,
Interesting.
and you just have to get right on the edge.
Yeah.
Oh, that like I tell my friends that are big sports fans, it's not a sport if it can't kill you. That's a game. You might as well be playing poker.
Yeah.
Come from
Or
a tick bite or?
oh no, I think it's.
I don't know. There's a lot of people died
Look at-
playing poker.
Hey, I know that's true. If you're not, if they're not honest, but you might as well be playing a table game to me if it's not a real sport unless
Right.
it's bear hunting or mountain climbing or skydiving or something like that. I don't see that it's a
Yeah.
big
If it
deal.
doesn't
So-
tickle your emotions.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
at all. Now, so that's my motorcycle thing, and
Yeah.
and I don't do what's that? Toxoplasma. That's what
Yeah.
Oh,
Toxoplasma.
he looked it up.
Yeah.
Gondii.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Gandhi was a peaceful guy.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, not this Gandhi.
Okay, different
Yeah.
Gandhi.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Miguel's kind of been our
Different dude.
Yeah, thanks for
Our,
Googling that.
Jamie.
our Jamie.
Yeah, we
tonight.
yeah. Miguel is like Joe Rogan's Jamie.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Look
get
it
that
up
dude
while
to
we're
mine.
at it.
So this is a good place to wrap it up, I guess, with thrill
Yeah.
seeking and parasites.
No,
Yeah,
I kind of
guess
want to
so.
know
But
one
thank you.
thing.
Okay.
What's that?
Really? So why would you want to be a county commissioner? Right? You said it's challenging.
It is challenging and it's fun and it is nice to be able to help people.
Yeah,
It is-
okay.
It is really, really rewarding. Unfortunately, I have to say no more than I can say yes. And
Yeah.
most of that is budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of it is time, but most of it is budget.
Yeah.
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 Because I would love to do more with, I'd love to pave every road in the county, center stripe it, just do
Sure.
better drainage, but we just can't afford it. We don't have that economy of scale.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Man, that's interesting.
but it's still fun to stretch the dollars and do as much as we can with what we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you see for Wise County in the next 5 years?
Next 5
Roughly.
years, we're even with interest rates like they are, we're still growing.
Yeah.
I see, everything gets politicized and dramatized,
Sure.
but we're not like in imminent danger of losing anything in Wise County. Quality of life is still going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
That's awesome.
So that's where I stand anyway. But I appreciate the opportunity to get to do it for as long as I have.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been fun. I
That's-
appreciate my crew because they make me look good
Yeah.
on the road. Everything other stuff's on me. If I didn't do it right, then
think
that's
that's
on
a-
me. But my crew is really good.
Pretty good testament to your character, though, too, that you've been in this for 21 years and counting. That's
Yeah, and I'm
people
I'm
are
tired.
your
I'm
voters are
ready.
putting you back in,
I'm tired and I'm ready to
and
travel.
his neighbors appreciate you.
But,
Yeah.
but there is a really strong push from outside the county
Yeah.
to fill every office in the state with cronies of what I call the Billionaires Boys Club. They change their name every 2 years, every
Yeah.
election cycle, so that it's a little vague.
Yeah.
It's the same guys and
Oil patch guys.
oil
Yeah.
patch guys, and if their heart is in the right place, that's great.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They just want control. For
I mean,
Well, they want money.
they want to protect their money. They have
Yeah.
money. They just want to protect it, and they can protect it a little bit with having people in office that are cognizant of what adversely affects them.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for the average guy with the average size rooftop
Yeah.
that's having a hard time
I
paying.
forgot
their
who I was
taxes.
talking with that about the other day.
Yeah.
Like, once you become a billionaire, it's like, okay, you don't really have any more missions in life other than protecting your mountain of cash or your mountain of assets. That's
That's tough.
Then you get into
Yeah,
cronyism.
yeah,
For your own benefit.
And if you've taken their money, they feel like they've controlled
Yeah.
you. Whether you do or not,
Yeah.
that's still in the back of your mind.
Right.
So I'm very careful. I try not to. I've taken some campaign money from some locals, and there's several people that I've said, "Hey, I really appreciate it, but just not good optics. So I'm gonna send your check back to you, even though
Okay.
you're a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you may not be. You're not. You've got interest here, but you don't live here, so that doesn't look
Just that.
good.
Yeah.
So let's just stay. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that
Yeah.
that you're willing. But anyway,
know.
it's been
I know I've been calling themes all night, and stewardship has been one of them, but
Sure,
also
but that's-
granular. It's like your office is about really a granular purpose, and it's
explain that granular to me.
it means like we all take part in your office every
Certainly.
time we drive out onto the road, or every time it rains,
Sure.
or every time we get that midst of drought. I mean, we're in it, but like
But
24-hour rainfall.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was going to be my takeaway from it too. Is like, if you are able to have reliable drinking water, if you're able to have access to and from your house, and not have to replace your tires every 5,000 miles or so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're able just to get in your driveway, then thank your commissioners, because they're out there keeping it going for you.
We're really
Yeah.
fortunate. We've got some good ones. Unfortunately, we can't keep up with everything,
Yeah.
but we try and we get there eventually. Sometimes when you call my cell phone, and I get 75 to 100 calls a day,
Joe, I feel you.
I
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
when I get to the office
For sure.
to tell somebody, "Hey, there's a pothole in Mrs. Smith's place." I forget,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you really need to call the office.
Right.
Sentiment to input.
Yeah, I feel it inside of me to say that it just goes beyond roads and highways. I think a commissioner has built relationships from the past, from generations, and he not only like helps to bring issues together or people together to tackle some of those issues, but I think Kevin is great at that. Is he's got a lot of amazing relationships, and he's a great person. So I think it goes beyond just maintaining roads and highways and being able to drive through a nice area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Appreciate the invite. It's been a
So he's a good politician.
Take it back down a notch.
I mean, there's
I don't like that word.
You gotta be a good person and a good politician. It all works out.
Oh my God!
Oh, no.
That's
Party
like the
foul.
second time you spilled something.
But you guys is talking about the fun stuff, because Kevin is also not only like motorcycles, but he likes airplanes. He likes music.
Cars, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have varied interests, but
I've been to a lot of concerts with you.
yep.
I've been to
Yeah.
the Cult, Metallica. We weren't at Slipknot together.
No.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a great taste in music.
A little everything.
Yeah.
I like pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot
real-
of things that you wouldn't probably imagine.
Real quick, and you've mentioned it 2 or 3 times about your crew. Is how many people do you have under you? in your
12.
precinct? 12. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're great guys.
Yep.
Every one of them, especially, I can't say enough good about them.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Sure.
folks.
Awesome.
Anyway, appreciate them. Appreciate
yeah.
everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to serve.
And you mentioned
And-
call the office. Is there a number, website, or anything like that for people watching, maybe listening? If they
There's
are in
really-
your precinct?
Yeah, it's 427-4881. But most people just call me.
Yeah.
There are 15,000, about 17,000 people in the precinct. Probably half of them have my cell number, and that's fine. But sometimes when I'm busy or driving around the truck and there's a million things going on, I might forget something. I do that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, just personal testimony. I've like rounded the bend on a county road before and stopped down in my tracks because Kevin's got
Shoveling
asphalt in the back of his truck, patching potholes on the county road. I'm like,
Hey, if everybody else is busy and it needs to be done, I don't mind doing it. It's good for me.
Yeah.
It's humbling, but it's good for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I've got time, I'm going to do it once in a
It's
while.
probably kind of peaceful.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I normally do it alone.
Oh, yeah.
I go with the crew
Right.
once in a while if I can, but a lot of times I just do it by myself and do a few.
Well, your
Anyway,
county,
thank you guys.
Thank
You
you.
bet.
Your county appreciates you, and we appreciate you.
yeah.
I appreciate you as a lifelong mentor and friend. So
Oh,
we
Appreciate
are
that.
blessed
It's nice
to have
being
you.
your neighbor.
It is, yeah, truly so. Well,
Appreciate
thanks
all you
again
guys.
for everybody listening. Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Thanks,
Don't be-
Miguel, for the beverages.
Yeah.
And thanks,
Yes.
And the
Don't-
empanadas.
don't-
Empanadas.
Don't call me commissioner. If you're calling me commissioner, you want something illegal, immoral, or unethical.
Thanks, KB.
There
Thanks
you
for
go.
being here.
That's awesome.
All right. See
All
y'all.
right. Well, on behalf of us, good night.
Adios.
You've been listening to the Whiskey Bros Around the Table.